A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a transcribed story of a man caught in a mine shaft, trapped by his own conscience. So now, starring Torrin Thatcher, here is tonight's suspense play, The Digger.
Not a tall man, not over 5'7", but the attitude of determination he had acquired the day before, when he had unexpectedly sighted his quarry, seemed to have added at least a foot to his stature. As a result, he walked through the dirty, narrow streets of the native section that morning without incident. No one blocked his path. No one cursed as he passed by. When he had walked approximately 6 blocks from the river crossing, where he had had to park his car, he turned into a small open doorway.
Nadir Bonner?
This is the place they call Winky's, boy?
Nadir Bonner.
Where's your head man?
Thank you, Ngobe. Sir, you do not wish to drink here? There are many places better for gentlemen across the river.
I didn't come here to drink.
What other reason could you have for honoring my establishment, sir?
Well, I'm told you rent rooms upstairs.
You're a policeman, sir?
No.
Sir, you have been misinformed. Now, please, you go, huh?
Then you don't have rooms here.
Only 2, sir, where my family and close friends may rest. So you
I
will...
suppose he could be a close friend of yours by now.
Who, sir?
The man I'm looking for. I got a job for him.
No one here seek work, sir.
Well, let him tell me.
But I am telling you, sir.
Now, look. Yesterday afternoon, I caught a glimpse of him in the marketplace, and since then I've spent quite a bit of money to learn that he's staying here. He's tall, has a bad leg.
Are you willing to spend more money, sir?
I am.
You sit down, sir. Rest yourself. Ngobe.
Yes, mister.
You will see if anyone know the man this gentleman seeks. What is his name, sir?
Fabian. Roger Fabian. They used to call him the Digger.
Upstairs in a small, musty room almost directly over Carton's head, Fabian sat on the edge of a narrow cot. He had aged in the past 2 years. His stomach had soured, and he had grown thin, so that now he scarcely resembled the man once known as the Digger. For several weeks he had heard that someone was asking questions about him, trying to track him down. And several weeks ago, if he could have paid Winky what he owed, he would have left this place and gone north. But he never seemed to have enough money, so now he waited, knowing the man would find him, wondering what the man wanted. Near Fabian, standing at the window combing her hair, was a woman about 20. She turned toward the door when Ngobe knocked.
Yes? Who is there?
Ngobe.
What do you want?
Mr. Save Bonner come. Man here to see him.
Tell him I'll be... No. Tell him to come up here.
Dear Bonner.
Well, what's the matter with you?
You will have to go away.
Now, where'd you get an idea like that?
You do not eat. And at night when you are sleeping, you cry out.
Oh, and that means I'll be leaving you, huh?
You have been hiding. What you were hiding from has found you. Now it take you away.
Good thing you don't make your money telling fortunes. We'd starve. Carton. But what are you doing here?
Hello, Digger.
Come in. Yeah, you sit here where it's clean. I'll squat on the floor. Tisha, get us a drink. Say, what would you like, Carton?
Oh, nothing for me, thanks. Still a bit early.
You sure?
Yes, quite.
Well, if you won't mind, hurry it up, Tisha.
You like a cigarette?
Very much, thank you. Here, I've a light.
You're hard to find, Digger.
Oh, so you're the one that's been looking for me, eh? I'd heard someone was.
Mm-hmm. Been a long time, hasn't it?
2 years. 2 years, 7 weeks.
You haven't forgotten.
Could you have?
I don't know. It depends on what really happened down there.
I told the court of inquiry what really happened.
Yes, of course you did. How long have you been living here?
Long enough.
I suppose you know how it looks.
Know how it feels?
Oh, I'm sorry, old chap. I didn't mean to...
You think I live here by choice? I couldn't get a job after I left the mine. Not a job anywhere. I tried for over a year before I gave up.
I'm sorry.
Yes, everybody's sorry, including me. Poor old Digger had a bit of a rough go, didn't he? Took 30 men down with him. Things got a bit touchy during a cave-in, and only old Digger makes it back topside.
You know the mine was closed right after that?
Yes. Should have been closed before. It was already worked out.
Well, perhaps not, Digger. They've opened it up again.
They've what?
I received a letter from Sandy McGregor. You'll remember him.
Sandy? Sure.
Now, look. He'd gotten some backing somewhere. Found tracings of another vein, most likely. Well, anyway, he asked me to look you up. He wants you to come back. And seeing you like this, well, naturally, I think you should.
No, I couldn't. Not to Tabora.
What happened wasn't your fault, man.
I know it, but no one else does.
Well, Sandy Musry wouldn't have made you a firm offer.
How much?
5,000.
5?
Well, why not? There's no other engineer in the union knows that mine as well as you do.
No, it's like my belly.
And you've had experience with the natives up there, too.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, nothing really, but... Well, after the cave-in, when they decided it'd be too dangerous to recover those bodies, the natives put some sort of a silly taboo on the mine.
5,000, eh?
That's right. Now, what do you say, Digger?
I say no.
Oh, but good heavens, man, you...
Cotton, I have nightmares. I see those men trapped down there waiting for me, expecting me to come back and lead them out.
You won't get rid of your dreams in this pest hole, Digger. Believe me, it'll help to go back. And if things don't work out, man, you...
Well, it's about time. Where's the drink?
Mister, say no more without money. And what you owe.
Well, now imagine that, Cotton. And I only owe the few lousy quid. Imagine that, will you?
Digger, I purchased a truck from McGregor. Now, someone's got to drive it up for him. Now, if you like, I can have it at the river crossing tomorrow morning.
I don't know.
I'll get you out of here. Maybe your last chance.
It would be better.
What?
It would be better for you to go back to this place.
Oh, you've been listening.
Seems she cares more about you than you do for yourself.
Dear Buana, it's true.
Well, let me have your answer, Digger. It's been already 2 weeks since he asked me to find you. Now, you won't wait forever.
2 weeks? You started looking for me just 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's quite a while to wait when you're anxious to get into production. I know you won't wait much longer. Now, what do you say?
This woman would make a fine fortune teller. You buy me out of here, and I'll go.
It was normally a pleasant 3-day trip to Tabora. But for the Digger, his liquor supply suddenly cut off. It was a nightmare. Twice he had to stop for several hours while he fought to control his nerves. But by the time he finally reached the floor of the valley that led to Tabora, the worst was over. Late the fourth afternoon, remembering what Carton had said, he swung the truck wide around the native village. And a few minutes later, he was driving down the hot, dusty street that separated the 4 frame buildings of the Tabora mine.
Hello, anybody here?
Yes?
Sandy McGregor.
Who is it?
It's the digger. Why, what's the matter? Didn't you recognize me?
What now? Of course I did. I just had to wait till I got close up.
You haven't changed, Sandy.
Neither of you. And I'm very glad to see you, digger. Oh, is that the truck, Carton Botany?
Yes, and she's loaded with supplies.
Good. We'll unload it in the morning. It'll give us something to do.
Haven't you started working the mine?
Well, I can't until I receive the permit. Come along inside.
Carton thinks you've found a new vein.
So I have. Should go about 600 a ton. I've got some more samples. You take a look, see what you think. Are your leg been giving you trouble?
Oh, no. Muscles get tight when I don't use it. That's all.
Too bad you didn't get entirely clear that day. But even so, you're a great deal better off than the others who were down there.
Yes. Anyone else here with you?
The geologist seems to know his job. Oh, here we are. Clark, this is Fabian. Roger Fabian.
Clark?
That's right. I was just about to fix myself a drink. You'll join me, won't you?
No, thanks.
Oh, come now, Fabian. Surely you're thirsty after your long trip.
No, I've decided to stay off it for a while.
Oh? Think you'll be able to?
Why, yes. Why?
I've always heard once the stuff's gotten hold of a man, it took real guts to leave it alone.
Oh.
Well, how about you, Sandy?
No, not now. I'm going to take another look around for Miggy. Miggy's our newest recruit in the village, digger.
Oh.
He disappeared right after luncheon today.
Carton said you were having some trouble with the natives.
Well, nothing to it except threats. They don't want us going down into the mine. Big taboo. I'll be back in a minute.
So you're the famous digger. I've heard a lot about you.
Oh? From Sandy?
No, he scarcely has mentioned you. Shall we want to have that drink?
Quite sure.
Well, you've changed since Joburg.
Oh? Did we meet there?
Oh, we had a mutual friend, Trudy Morgan. Remember her?
Oh, yes.
You've been gone about a month when I checked in. Well, did you like to see your room? It's right across the hall from mine. Doesn't matter if you snore, though. Rats keep me awake most of the night anyway.
Rats here?
Well, the place is overrun with them. And they're hungry, so watch yourself. Well, everything seems to be in order. Except the lock on this door.
Oh, I won't worry about that.
I would. Someone might sneak in while you're sleeping and slit your throat.
Well, it's not very funny, Clark.
It wasn't meant to be. Now, come along. We'd better get your gear in before dark. Is all you have?
All I brought with me.
Hello. Wonder what they're up to.
Clark, digger!
Over here, Sandy.
You find him?
No, he's gone back to the village.
Well, looks as if I'll have to don the apron tonight.
We'll not be eating here.
Oh, why not?
I went over toward the village. That's no ordinary ceremony they're holding. They're being whipped up into something big. Lots of cooler being passed about.
For our benefit, perhaps?
I'm afraid so.
You mean they might come here to attack us?
I'm not going to stay to find out.
Where we go?
Down into the mine. That's the one place they won't dare to come after us. Now, you and Clark go ahead, digger. I'll get some blankets and things from the house.
Well, what about the truck and your supplies?
If we don't get out of this alive, we won't need them.
Oh, digger. I wasn't going to tell you this before you got settled, but I think I should now.
Yes?
I've taken an oath to kill you.
What?
I intend to do it within the next few days. Unless, of course, the natives do it for me. Well, come along, digger.
You are listening to The Digger, tonight's presentation on radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is no signature on a Valentine. Not that our danger-loving insurance investigator is opposed to romance. It's just that the detective's profession calls for a pragmatic approach to life, if he wants to go on living. That's why, no matter how lovely a lady may be, and no matter how attracted to her Johnny Dollar may be, solving the particular case he's working on always takes precedence over sentiment. The case he's working on right now calls for courage as well as caution. And it's a baffling mystery thriller you'll enjoy following clue by clue as you listen for yours truly, Johnny Dollar, Monday through Friday evening on most of these same stations.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Torrin Thatcher, starring in tonight's production, The Digger, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
By taking advantage of the digger's bad leg, Clark managed to stay several paces in front of him as they walked toward the mine. This prevented Fabian from asking questions and pressing Clark for answers. Clark himself was the big question. The digger was not entirely convinced that Clark was serious, yet there was nothing humorous in Clark's threat, which had been made in an unemotional, completely fatalistic way. He was still undecided when McGregor caught up with him. Together, they reached the hoist and climbed into the cage. The moment before they started down, they saw the natives set fire to the building they had just left. Then they lowered themselves, and the digger began to remember the nightmares and remembered this mine was also a tomb.
This will set us back.
Set us back more if they catch us.
There's a bottle wrapped in that blanket, Clark. Will you break it out?
Yeah?
Yes. How far are we going down, Sandy? To the lower level? The lower level?
Yeah, that's what I've been working. I've got the spot fixed up back near the cave-in. We'll be more comfortable there.
Here we are. You look a bit shaky, Digger. Better take some of this.
Yes, all right, thanks.
There, that's more like the old Digger. How about you, Sandy?
Go ahead.
No, it won't bother me being down there.
Well, it couldn't bother any of us.
That's so? How about it, Digger? Would it bring back some nasty memories?
Why should it?
Well, last time you were down, you barely got out alive. You were lucky that day, weren't you?
Clark, I
you're right,
bring...
Sandy. I'm sorry, Digger. Didn't mean to remind you.
You didn't?
No, I didn't imagine I did. Here, you better take another drink. Wash away the ghosts.
Well, what are you doing?
You hang on to that bottle, Digger. I'll help Sandy with the other one.
Wait a minute.
What is it?
I'm not sure.
It's smoke.
What?
It is smoke. Coming from up top.
They're trying to smoke us out.
Yeah, well, that'll take a lot of doing. Come on. Let's get back where we can rest.
They started back then, their graphite lamps lighting the way, casting shadows on the stone walls ahead of them. The digger remembered each foot of the level, each beam that supported it and kept the earth from caving in on them. Once he would have remembered them as old friends, but not now. Then they rounded a sharp turn and came upon the fallen tons of shale and loose rock that had caused the death of 30 men.
Did you see that, Clark?
Yes.
What was it?
A rat. Filthy little rat.
Digger, you'd better go easy on that stuff.
Let him alone, Sandy.
You let him alone. You're the one's been after him.
It's all right, Sandy. Don't you worry about me.
Come on, let me have the bottle, Digger.
Yes, sure. Here you are.
Thank you. No. Sit down. We'll be here all night anyway.
Cigarette, Sandy?
No. Thanks, we'd better not smoke down here, just in case.
Whatever you say. Digger, did you know all the men that were in here that day?
No, not all.
But most of them?
Yes.
I saw a letter you wrote to the wife of one of them after it happened.
I wrote a good many letters.
Yes. This woman lived in Suffolk. Has 2 kids.
No.
At about 11 and 14 now. You know who I mean, Digger?
No, I don't know. Well, was she Henry's wife? Yes, I wrote to tell her to try explain how it happened.
And how you managed to get out when no one else did. She believed you, but I didn't.
What?
No, wait a minute, Clark.
You wait. I've been looking for him for over 6 months. I'd almost given up.
Why, Clark? Why?
Don't you know? Has your brain rotted that much?
What?
Can't you remember his last name?
No.
Henry's last name. He was your friend.
No, I don't...
You sent his things back to her.
I sent them to... No. No, you can't be...
Clark. Henry Clark, Digger.
No,
You're Henry's brother?
That's right.
Well, why didn't you tell me?
It didn't matter to you.
No.
Why did you lie to her like that, Digger?
I didn't lie.
You lied.
No, I didn't.
Then and at the inquest.
Now, stop it, Clark. He was cleared at the inquest.
Because there wasn't anyone to testify against him. But there is now. And he's right here, sitting beside me. You remember Trudy, don't you, Digger? The woman in Joburg?
Yes.
She told me about you.
Yes.
All about you. You have nightmares. The same one, over and over.
Please.
Trudy told me she used to come into your room when it was at its worst. You'd be yelling, should have warned them.
No,
Why didn't I warn them?
Clark.
And while you were saying it, you'd throw your arms and legs about as if you were fighting your way through hell.
No, Clark, even if it is true, why not forget it?
I'll forget it when he can sit here on my brother's tomb with a clear conscience. Well, I've been sick afraid like he's been since we entered this place. You know what he's afraid of, Sandy? Of the men buried here.
No.
Isn't that right, Digger?
No.
Isn't that right?
Yes. Yes.
And you're afraid of them because you ran. You left them behind.
Yes.
You saw the danger signs. You knew it was going to give way. But instead of taking time to warn them, you ran. Isn't that true? Isn't it true?
Yes, it's all true.
Okay.
I've known you a long time, Digger. I've seen you do things that took more than I had in me.
Help it. Believe me, I couldn't help it. Cave-in's the only thing that I've ever been afraid of in my life. Fire, explosions, gas. Yes, I was afraid of them. But not like a cave-in, where I'd be crushed to death or die fighting for air. Please, Clark, I couldn't help it. Believe me, I couldn't.
No. It's all right, Digger.
You speak for yourself, McGregor.
Oh, now, Clark, you're not going to keep after him.
You want me to shake his hand? Show him the meaning of brotherly love, that is?
There'll be no harm in it. And a lot of good for both of you.
You go to...
We may all do just that if they keep on pouring smoke in here.
They sat quietly for a while, waiting. And then, just as McGregor had feared it would, the smoke reached their level and came rolling down the shaft. And with it, running in front of it, were all the animals who had made their nests in the abandoned mine.
What time is it?
About 4.
It'll be daylight in another hour. The natives will stop then. Go home to sleep off the cooler.
What was that?
Did you hear something?
I don't know. I thought... Listen.
Another rat.
Look there. At the turn. There were 4 of them.
Listen to them. They must be coming down here to get away from the smoke up top.
Let's take a look out toward the cage.
Good Lord.
Hundreds of them.
Keep your lamp on them. They're afraid of light.
Sandy, look back there toward the cage.
More coming in.
They're not moving. Come on, we'll get back.
What?
We'll go back where we were. Come on.
You're going to have us trapped in here, Sandy. We're going to be cut off from the cage. We've got to make a run for it now.
Take it easy, Clark.
Take it easy. There are 1,000 rats out there waiting for us. How are we going to get out?
I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about keeping alive right where we are.
Look.
They're moving this way, Sandy.
We've got to make a run for it.
We can't run.
You mean he can't?
I mean we're sticking together.
Then none of us will make it. We'll all die here.
Shut up, Clark.
We'll make a nice meal for them. For their families and their families.
Shut up, Sandy. You two had better go now, while there's still a chance.
No, we'll stay. The air should begin to clear in another hour.
How do you know? You don't know for sure the natives are going to give up?
Sandy, your only chance is to try and reach the cage. If you make it and it's clear up top, send the cage back down. I'll try for it then. If it's not clear up there, it won't make any difference anyhow.
Stop talking and let's move.
But if we leave you alone, Digger, they might...
They will anyway, in a few moments. Go on, Sandy, go on. There's a shovel over there, and I can hold off until you get up top.
Listen to him, Sandy. Do what he says.
All right, we'll try.
Go on, Sandy. Oh, Sandy.
Yes?
One thing. In case you get through and I don't, there's a woman I'd like her to have my things. When you send them to Carton, you'll know where to take them.
Yes. Good luck, Digger. Hold on yourself, you beast.
A few minutes later, Clark and Sandy McGregor, having fought their way to the cage, reached the top of the mine and stepped out into a clear blue dawn. Then, with an almost automatic gesture, because they had said they would and not because they expected the crippled digger to make it through the rats, they sent the cage back down. Then they waited.
How long's it been?
Long enough.
Yes. Clark, he made it! He made it! Come on, help me put him up!
They looked down the shaft, and as the cage neared them, they could see rats clinging to the top of it and to the ropes on each side. Then the cage was clear, and they saw what it carried.
No. Oh, my God. No.
Look at him. They must have been all over him for 1,000 feet.
They buried him as the sun rose full above the horizon. A few days later, Sandy wrote another letter to his friend Carton. The day after receiving it, Carton drove again to the river crossing, parked his car, and crossed into the native section. Before he reached Winky's, where he was to give the woman a very small package, he had been pushed, cursed, and spat upon.
Suspense, in which Torrin Thatcher starred in tonight's presentation of The Digger. Next week, we bring you a story of a boy who ran from a prophecy but couldn't escape its deadly promise. We call it The Strange Prophecy of Bertha Abbott. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is directed and transcribed in Hollywood by Anthony Ellis. You have heard The Digger, written by Charles B. Smith, especially for Suspense. The music was composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Featured in the cast were Herb Butterfield, Charlie Lung, Ramsey Hill, Stan Jones, William Byoff, and Parley Bear.
Now a public service message from CBS Radio. In this second half of the 20th century, war could happen in a hurry. Nuclear fission and long-range bombers have brought America within striking distance. And unless we're on our guard, an aggressor could deliver devastating blows. To help guard America, enlist in the Ground Observer Corps. Sign up for the silver wings that mean you're doing your share to man our vital aircraft spotter observation posts. Write or telephone your nearest Civil Defense Center and volunteer.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a transcribed story of a boy who ran from a prophecy but couldn't escape its deadly promise. So now, starring Sam Edwards and Richard Crenna, here is tonight's suspense play, The Prophecy of Bertha Abbott.
train moved on into the night. It was dark in the boxcar, and Ernie was scared. He didn't want to think about where he was going or why he was there. He tried to fill his mind with plans for the jazzy sports car he intended to have one day, but somehow he didn't find the comfort in this that he usually did. The image of the car blurred and became distorted. So he just sat, huddled behind a crate in the corner. He listened to the sound of the wheels on the rails and realized that he was awfully hungry.
Whitey, you still asleep?
No.
You're so quiet.
I've been thinking
About what?
about how hungry I am.
Gee, me too. Got any dough? Couple of bucks, maybe.
I guess I got about that much.
You have any idea where we are?
It'll be light pretty soon. We'll check.
When we check, then what?
Well, when near a town or something, we get off. One thing's sure, we gotta watch we don't ride this car into a stopping place.
You mean maybe they'll be looking for us?
You're improving, man.
Whitey, what now?
We gotta run, Ernie.
He remembered she had lived alone in a little house at the end of the block. Her hair was gray and stringy, and she had a long, thin face with a beaked nose. Her name was Bertha Abbott, and she was generally regarded as a somewhat peculiar but harmless old woman. However, it was whispered among the children of the neighborhood that she was a witch, a real witch, and no child ever passed her fenced yard without a quickening step and a strange tingle of fear. Except in early summer, when the luscious golden peaches hung heavy on the tree just inside the fence. Then, fear momentarily forgotten, the children were apt to slow down and pause and contemplate the fruit, tempting, tantalizing, and beckoning.
Oh, Ernie, it'd be easy. I'm scared.
Oh, who wouldn't be? Old Lady Abbott might catch us.
No, she wouldn't.
She might. What then? She's a witch, a real witch.
Gee, we could climb that old fence easy as anything.
Whitey, let's go home.
Oh, Ernie, look at them peaches.
Yeah.
Tonight, huh? When it's dark, nobody'd see us.
I don't want to.
You wouldn't even have to climb the tree. Just stay inside and watch. Ernie, look at them peaches.
Ernie? Yeah. That's enough, Whitey. Let's go.
Put them inside your shirt.
Here. Whitey, let's go.
Wait, will you?
I want to go. It's so dark.
There's some neat ones up here.
We got enough.
Here.
Whitey, come on.
Oh. Who's that? Who's that out there?
Run, Ernie. Run. Run, Ernie, run.
Ernie ran, but he didn't run far enough. Before he reached the fence, he stumbled and fell. Then fear as big as the night closed in on him. He was in the clutches of the witch. She had him by the collar, and she was shaking him and screaming at him.
Come steal it, eh? Come on my property and come steal it.
Let go of me, please.
I'll keep you, you little thief.
Let me go. I didn't do it. Let me go.
You're a liar and a thief. Oh, you're a bad one. Yes, sirree, Bob, you're a bad one. You know what's going to happen to you? Do you?
Let go, you're hurting me.
Come stealing. You're bad. You know where the likes of you end up, do you? The gas chamber. A little room all locked up tight. And there's all poison gas there. And you die. Like a rat, you die there. And that's what's going to happen to you.
No.
Yes, sirree, you bad ones. You all go to the gas chamber. Now, you give me them peaches. Come stealing. Yes, sirree. You'll die like a rat. And you just go on home and tell your mother I said so.
Ernie didn't tell his mother. He couldn't tell, but he never forgot about it, and it made his sleep restless and troubled. And the days and the years passed.
Ernie, it'll be easy. Don't be a square all your life. Cut it out, Whitey. Suppose we got caught. We won't get caught. I got it all figured out. The brain. That's right. You've reached the second plateau. Look, Ernie, have you ever figured how much Goofy takes in on a weekend on this joint? Maybe $500-600. That much? Sure. You know where he keeps it until he can get to the bank on Monday? In a shoebox. Right there in that back room. How do you know so much? Never mind. You just stick with old Dad. I also know there's a window in that room that opens to the alley. Well, there you have it. I don't want it. Ernie, think of all that dough. Yeah. Ernie, that neat car we saw down the Schweiger's lot. That one just needs a little fixing up. Yeah. Did you mention it to your old man? Yeah. Oh, what'd he say? Nothing. Just like he didn't hear me. Just like always. Like I never said anything. Like I wasn't even there. You should have heard my old man take off when I mentioned it. Like how? Same old jive. Like I'm a no-good bum, and if I'm such a big shot, I gotta have a car. Why don't I pay some rent? You know. Gee, that car, just a little fixing up. Sure. Well, tonight. I don't want to. You won't even have to climb inside. Just stay outside and watch. Ernie, think of all that dough. Ernie, yeah? Hand me that crowbar. Why don't we forget it? Shut up. Hand me that crowbar. Here. Whitey? What? It's so loud. Oh, shut up. You loud mouth. Whitey, let's go. Let's forget it. Oh, you're a cube for sure, man. Not when I'm this close. Okay. Here, the crowbar. Catch it. No. I'm sorry, Whitey. Dumb it up. It's okay. I'm going in. Now, stupid. Watch. Run, Ernie! Stop! Stop you! I got a gun! Run, Ernie, run!
They ran down the alley, through the side streets, and into the dark of the night. Whitey led, and Ernie followed. Ernie didn't know where he was going, but he knew his legs hurt. His throat was dry, and his heart was a big, pounding, aching thing inside of him. They climbed the rail fence and started to cross a field. Ernie tripped and fell face down on the grass.
Ernie! Give me a minute. Come on. Just give me a minute. Whitey? What? Don't smell good. We gotta run, man. You shot him. You shot old Goofy. Oh, I had to. No, you didn't. I didn't mean to shoot him. You didn't tell me he had a gun. Where'd you get the gun? No, let's go. Oh, where are we going? Just follow me. No, really, Whitey. Where are we going? We'll cut across this field and swing around the back way of the freight yard. And then what? And we hop a freight, stupid. We gotta get out of town. I wish we didn't. I wish you hadn't shot Goofy. I wish... Come on, Ernie. We gotta run. Now we watch. See which one looks like it's going to be pulling out. I remember when I was a little kid, I'd come down here to this railroad yard, and always I'd get kind of sad. Why? How should I know?
What's that? This place is lousy with cops.
You saw him?
In the light of that switch engine, about 3. Well, that figures.
What figures?
They look for us down here.
What do we do?
Stay down. Crawl along the ground to that loading platform. We'll hide under that.
Whitey?
Shut up. If that switch engine with the beam turns this way, lie flat. Don't move.
Whitey, do you suppose they know it's us they're looking for?
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe?
I think Goofy recognized us. Or maybe told him.
You mean maybe he didn't die?
Yeah. Maybe he didn't. Lie still. Now, when that engine turns back, move fast. Head for that platform.
I hope he didn't die.
Now, run, Ernie!
It's dark. How long do we have to stay under here?
They're making up a train on that second track. We'll watch. Just as it starts to pull out, we'll climb on.
I've never been on a train.
We'll have to let it get up some speed.
I used to think a lot about how I'd like to take a ride on a train.
Now, when I tell you, you just follow me.
It's the craziest thing. I think about going for a ride on a train. I get a real bang out of thinking about it. About getting a bag packed and saying goodbye to everybody and how I was going to send postcards, all that stuff. And then it's so crazy. When I think about the train pulling out, I get sick. Really sick. You know why?
Huh?
I get really sick when I think about the train pulling out.
Oh, you're a real square. I think it's about time.
I follow you, huh?
Yeah. Now about the 5th or 6th car there, see? But never mind, just follow me. But you gotta move fast. Okay, now, run, Ernie, run!
My mom, she's going to be worried when I don't come home.
My mom, too. My old man. Oh, he's really going to flip. I hope he's satisfied.
What do you mean?
Well, like he's always telling me I'm no good, like I'm going to get in trouble. I guess I got it made.
Yeah. Whitey, listen.
Huh?
The wheels.
What about the wheels?
The sound they make. Like they're talking.
Oh, come on, man. Let's not get spooky. Are you crying?
No.
You are, too. Knock it off.
You are listening to the prophecy of Bertha Abbott. Tonight's presentation on radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Smoke signals were an ingenious means of communication back in the days when America was young. But for up-to-the-minute word about the important developments that occur in our complicated and fast-moving 20th century world, you'll find CBS News a much more reliable source of information. On the job 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, the CBS Newsroom makes every effort to keep you well informed via our regular schedule of news broadcasts and by means of special bulletins whenever a significant story breaks.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Richard Crenna and Sam Edwards, starring in tonight's production, The Prophecy of Bertha Abbott, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
help me slide this door. Yeah. Watch how the window gets you. Hang on. Gee! Now pick a spot and jump. While it's going fast like this, it slows down some. You've got it doing, Ernie. You go first. I go first, you might chicken out. No, I won't, I promise. Okay, it's your funeral if you do. Now pick a spot with grass like that. Like this. Jump! Where are we walking, Whitey?
There's got to be a town near here someplace.
Seems like we've been going forever.
There'll be a town pretty soon. Get something to eat. Can't you make any better time than that?
It's my ankle. I heard it when I jumped off of that train. Do you suppose... Well, figure it this way. Maybe it won't be so bad. Do you suppose we ought to forget it and... We'll just go back?
Are you crazy, man?
No, really, Whitey. Maybe it won't be so bad.
Ernie, I don't dare go back. My old man. You know how he is.
Yeah, that's right. My old man. You know what he's probably doing?
What?
Crying.
Crying?
Yeah. He cries lots of times.
Why?
How should I know?
Well, your old man cries. You ought to know why.
He's sad, I guess.
I never did dig your old man, reading all them books all the time.
Yeah, that's it. He's sad, I guess. Gee, it's hot.
It's hot. It's cold. All the time beeping.
Well, it is hot, and I'm thirsty.
There's going to be a town pretty soon.
Seems like we've been going forever.
You've had enough of that hamburger, Ernie.
What do you mean?
Quiet, stupid. Keep your head down. But look at that newspaper on the counter. Don't grab it. You can see it from here.
Gee.
I'm going over to the jukebox. Leave the dough for the check on the counter and follow me. Keep your head down. Gee, they pipe down. You got a dime?
Here. Gee, they got our pictures and everything.
Yeah. Look at that too, like they're looking for a record.
That's my picture they took for the school book. It's almost dark. What now, Whitey?
You know something, Ernie? You get out of this country, you go someplace maybe like South America. You got a little dough, you can live like a king.
You know that, Whitey?
Oh, that's no jive, man. You got a few bucks, that's all you need. Yeah, I've been thinking about it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been sitting here thinking about it, about how we go to South America. See, and we fall into something real good, like we discover uranium or something. We make a pile. And we come back and I got a big car. And I go home. And I drive up there in front of my old man and, well, like he's all the time saying how I'm no good and how I'm never going to make it. Only now I got this big car and all this loot. And I'm a big man, see? Oh, Ernie, wouldn't it be the most?
Yeah. Only, we can't go home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well.
Whitey, it's almost dark. What now?
South America.
What?
We're going to South America.
You're talking crazy.
No, I'm not. Did you notice that sign on the highway back there? We're almost to San Diego. San Diego, man, they got a harbor there and boats.
You know anything about boats, Whitey?
Well, not exactly.
See? You're talking crazy.
I tell you I'm not. First, we gotta pick up a car.
You know how to pick up a car, Whitey?
It'll be easy.
You sure you know what you're talking about?
Ernie, you just follow old Dad.
Gee, this is a neat car.
Yeah, we gotta dump it pretty soon. It's too conspicuous. Oh, man, she really is a gasser. Look at her cut out.
Wow. You know, that neat car we saw in Swagger's lot?
Yeah?
Well, that car, I know just what we could have done to it to fix it up. It wouldn't have taken a lot, just a little work.
Yeah, that was a good car. Man, ain't that something?
Those boats are big, aren't they?
Sure. Well, you see how easy it's going to be to hide somewhere in one of those things? Now, look here, this one over here. See where they're loading that stuff up there in front? Just get on when nobody's looking, climb down in there. You're on your way.
Suppose they'd find us.
We'll have dough, see? If we get caught, we just pay our way, and there we are. We got it made.
Whitey, where are we going to get this dough?
Well, I still got that gun.
No, Whitey.
Oh, Ernie, will you take it easy? It'll be easy.
You're sure this is going to work?
I never steered you wrong yet, did I? This job will be a breeze. I got it all worked out. You just stay here and keep the motor running. Be ready to take off. Now, you know the way.
Like we planned it, yeah.
Where are we going to ditch the car?
Behind the warehouse on the dock, yeah.
In the boat?
The Nino Perdido, yeah. Nino means boy. What does Perdido mean?
How should I know? Okay, now. Wait.
And Ernie waited. He didn't want to think about why he was there or where he was going, so he tried to fill his mind with other things. Then he remembered that Perdido meant lost.
Let's go, man.
Wait, what happened?
Something fouled up. Come on, take out.
Like we planned?
I don't know. What else? Well, there they are.
After us?
You know it. Faster, Ernie.
They're almost on us. We're near the dock. Did we ditch the car like we planned? I don't know. You gotta tell me, Whitey.
I guess so, Ernie. Okay, around the warehouse. Run, Ernie.
Whitey! Whitey!
Run, Ernie. Run.
So Ernie ran, around the warehouse and onto the dock. And fear as big as the night was on him. For now he was running alone.
My name is Joe Beshke. I'm a seaman on a Nino Perdido. Able-bodied, that is. I'm standing gangway watch, see, and I hear they're shooting down by the warehouse. Well, I'm like this. I always figure when they're shooting, that's when I'm going to make myself scarce. So I ducks down behind this winch, and I see this kid come running down the dock. He's running real crazy, you know, zigzagging all over the place like he lost his rudder. And he heads this way, and before I can stop him, he's aboard. Well, now, like I say, I wasn't at my station, but anybody could have seen them signs all over the place. There's quarantine, danger, keep off. You see, we was due to sail, but we discovered rats, and we had to fumigate. Anyway, before I knew what he was up to, he had to cover off that small forward hold, and he was down there. Psh, boy, there's enough hydrocyanic acid down there to kill 10 men. It's awful to think about. That kid closed up in there. Died like a rat.
Suspense, in which Sam Edwards and Richard Prentice starred in tonight's presentation of The Prophecy of Bertha Abbott. Be sure to listen again next week when we bring you another presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Suspense is directed and transcribed in Hollywood by Anthony Ellis. You've heard The Prophecy of Bertha Abbott, written by Ann Dowd for Suspense. The music was composed and conducted by Jerry Goldsmith. Featured in the cast were Stacey Harris, Paula Winslow, George Walsh, Bill James, Jack Crucian, Richard Beals, and Peggy Weber.
If a prowler entered your home, you'd track him down, wouldn't you? Then why not seek out and eliminate possible sources of accidents in your home? Make frequent checks to see that stairways are uncluttered. Make sure that throw rugs are securely anchored to the floor. Keep matches, medicines, and any poisonous household materials well out of the reach of children. See that lamp cords and switches are kept in good repair. Make everyone in your family a private eye for home safety.
From Hollywood by tape, Suspense. Tonight marks two auspicious occasions on radio's outstanding theater of thrills. Tonight, Suspense begins its 15th season on the air. Tonight, Suspense welcomes as its producer-director the distinguished master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robeson.
Good evening. On this first program of our new series, we are proud to bring you Miss Patty McCormick, the young star of the Warner Brothers picture, The Bad Seed, in a play written especially for her by Peggy Chandler. Other stars will follow her in a succession of chilling tales of suspense. Next week, Reed Hadley in Red Cloud Mesa, based upon the recent Collier's magazine story, Where the Warriors Crossed. Then, Charles Dickens' immortal story of terror, The Signalman, starring Miss Sarah Churchill. This is the shape of things to come in the weeks to come. We invite your apprehensive listening. We promise never to relax our efforts to chill your blood and fill your sleeping hours with dreams of horror. We shall begin now with Patty McCormick in The Doll, a play well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Tomorrow's my birthday, but I don't think my father remembers. He didn't ask me what I wanted for a present, like he always used to, before Paula came to live at our house. When people forget your birthday, even if it's your father, I guess that means they don't like you so much anymore.
Valerie, it's your bedtime.
Just 5 minutes more, Paula. Daddy, may I please?
When it comes to bedtime, Val, Paula's the boss.
But on special nights, I'm always allowed.
Is this a special night?
Well, sort of. Tomorrow.
That'll be enough stalling.
I'm not stalling.
Val, you mustn't shout at Paula. I'll apologize.
Forget it, George. The child's tired.
I'm not.
Valerie.
I'm sorry, Paula. I apologize.
That's better. Now tell me, what's so special about tonight?
Don't you know what? Honor bright, don't you?
Well, let's see. It's not Christmas Eve or the 4th of July or the first day of school or...
Oh, I know what she's talking about, George. Her birthday. It's tomorrow.
Oh,
Val, I'm sorry, baby. I guess I forgot. Oh, but I've had a lot of things on my mind lately. Things at the office. And...
Valerie, don't look at your father that way. He said he was sorry.
Oh, it's okay, Daddy. I guess I'm too big to care about birthdays anymore.
Well, then I guess you don't want the present I got for you.
Paula, you're wonderful.
So they tell me.
See, Val, your birthday wasn't forgotten after all. Paula remembered.
Thank you very much, Paula.
Don't you want to see your present?
Not till tomorrow. We never open presents ahead of time, Daddy and me. Good night, Paula.
Good night, dear.
Good night, Daddy.
I know I don't deserve it, but I'd sure like a kiss.
Okay. Good night.
Thanks for remembering, darling. If you hadn't, we'd have had a family crisis on our hands. The poor little kid.
Credit my little black book. Right after the wedding, I listed all dates, the forgetting of which would cause crises.
You're either a witch or a wonder, and I don't care to find out which. And no pun intended.
Come on, darling. It's our bedtime, too.
It's not polite to listen when people are having a private conversation, so I ran upstairs and crawled into bed quick and pulled the covers over my head. It took me a long time to fall asleep. What I kept thinking about was that maybe my father would figure out some way to get me his own present by morning. Now it's tomorrow, and I've been waiting downstairs an awfully long time. I always have to wait an awfully long time before they get up on Sundays.
Good morning, Val.
Happy birthday. Here's your present.
Thank you.
And 7 kisses for 7 years. Mm-hmm.
Well, aren't you going to open it?
All right.
What a beautiful doll.
And she has real blonde hair. See?
Same as my mother's. That's what color her hair was. Blonde.
Now, baby, let's not talk about that.
What are you going to name your new doll?
Henny, like my mother.
But, Val, that makes 2 teddy bears, 3 dolls, and a jack-in-the-box, all named Henny. Wouldn't it be easier to keep them straight if you gave her a different name?
How about Patricia? That's a pretty name.
Her name's Henny.
Well, I guess that settles that. Let me have her a minute, Valerie. I want to show you her gadget.
I don't want her to have a gadget.
Oh, you have fun with this one.
Give Paula the doll, Val.
Now, let's see. Oh, here it is. Right in the middle of her back, under her dress. Now, you just wind the key up, like this.
Does it hurt her?
Of course not.
Just remember to wind her up carefully so you won't break the spring. Here. Now, listen.
What is it?
It's her heart beating. Isn't that fun?
She's like a real live person.
Here, Val, hold her.
What happens if it stops?
Nothing. You just wind her up again.
Oh. Daddy?
Yes?
Why didn't you wind my mother up again?
Well, Val, it's not quite the same with people as it is with dolls.
If you wound her up, her heart wouldn't have stopped. And she wouldn't be dead.
But Val...
Did you want her to get dead? So you and Paula could get...
That's enough. You can't wind people up again, and that's all there is to it.
You could if you really wanted to.
No, Val. Not even if you wanted to very, very much.
I don't believe you.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm starving. How about some breakfast?
I'm for that. Come on, Val. You can help flip the pancakes.
I don't want to.
Well, I'll call you when everything's ready, Val. Come on, George.
I'll take care of you, Henny. I won't ever let you get dead, I promise.
What's the matter with the hotcakes, Val? Don't you like them?
Yes?
Then why aren't you eating them?
I'm not hungry.
Val, that racket makes me nervous.
It's not a racket, it's Henny's heart.
All right. But why don't you put the doll in the other room?
Her name's Henny.
All right. Why don't you take Henny into the living room until we finish breakfast?
Because I promised her I'd never leave her alone. Not ever.
Oh, this is going to be jolly.
I don't care. And I'm not going to leave her alone. Then her heart will stop, and then she'll be dead. Just like
That's enough, Valerie. Now take the doll into the living room.
No.
Very well, then go to your room.
George, what's the point in making a scene? Now let us stay. There's a whole pile of hotcakes going begging. Here.
Daddy.
Thank you.
May I please be excused?
Not until you've finished your breakfast.
I can't. I'm not hungry.
Then go. And take that thing with you.
I took Henny to my secret place, down at the end of the garden where the big, cool vines make a little house that's all hidden from everyone. No one knows about it except me, and now Henny. Every time her heart starts to slow down, I wind her up again, but very carefully so I won't break the spring. It's funny how I feel about Henny and my mother, and about Henny and me. It's sort of like, if she stops, I'll stop too. It's funny to feel this way. Scary.
Believe me, darling, I can appreciate how...
And here comes Paul and my father. I have to be very quiet now so they won't find out about my secret place.
Why not wait till tonight? She'll have to go to sleep sooner or later. When she wakes up, the doll can be just one more ash in the incinerator.
I'll never let them do that to you, Henny. Never, I promise. We'll run away. And I'll never go to sleep. We'll run away and hide in the woods.
Who's there?
Don't be scared, Henny. He's just fishing. He won't hurt us. I don't think he will.
I said, who's there?
It's only us, Henny and me.
Well, come on out. Let me take a look at you.
See? We were just out for a walk and...
Oh, and you decided to come around and scare all the fish, huh?
we didn't mean to.
What's making that noise?
Henny, it's her heart. I have to keep her wound up all the time, forever, so she won't get dead.
Well, you're a funny kid, aren't you?
I don't know.
Well, I like funny kids. I was one myself. Big ears, pigeon toes, freckles, you know, the works.
I have braces on my teeth, too. See?
Hey, that's mighty important looking.
Do you really think so?
You bet.
I never thought of them as being important. Can we watch you fish?
Sure, if you're quiet.
Okay.
Sleepy?
A little bit, I guess.
Why don't you stretch out there and catch 40 winks?
Oh, I couldn't do that.
Why not?
Well, I told you I have to keep Henny wound up.
I'll tell you what. I'll take care of her while you're asleep.
Well, it would be good to take a nap. I've got a hard day ahead of me, but...
You go ahead. I'll watch her.
Honor bright?
Honor bright.
All right. See, the key's right here in the middle of her back. And you have to be sure to wind her up before she stops. And you have to do it very carefully, so as not to break the spring.
There's an awful lot of instructions, but I think I can manage.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is nice, soft grass. It feels good.
Shh, the fish. Go to sleep.
Okay.
You are listening to Miss Patty McCormick in The Doll. Tonight's presentation on radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Henny! Oh, don't worry, Henny. Everything's going to be all right. I won't let you get dead.
Hey, look what I just caught. Big mouth bass. I bet it weighs 5 pounds easy.
You broke your promise.
What's the matter?
She almost died. And you said honor bright.
Gee, I'm sorry. I didn't think she'd run down so soon. I got this bite, see? And... Hey, where are you going?
I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know any place that would be safe for Henny and me, where I could keep her from dying. So I just held her and kept winding her up and walking around for an awfully long time. And now it's starting to rain, and that makes everything worse, because when it rains, it thunders and lightnings. It wouldn't be so bad to be home in bed with Henny and pull all the covers up over our heads. And I wish I'd eaten breakfast, because now I wouldn't be so hungry.
Popcorn! Popcorn!
Maybe I can get some popcorn from that popcorn man.
Take your popcorn.
Want some popcorn, Henny?
Popcorn!
The only thing is, I don't like his monkey. He looks kind of mean. He jumps around so quick.
Popcorn! Want some popcorn, little girl?
How much does it cost?
10 cents, 1 thing die.
I only have a nickel.
Oh, too bad.
But we're awfully hungry.
So it's a monkey, so it costs 10 cents a bag of popcorn.
Can I buy a half a bag?
What kind of noise is that?
It's my doll's heart. Her name's Henny. What's your monkey's name?
He got no name.
Doesn't he get lonely without a name?
I tell you what, I swap you a bag of popcorn for your baby doll with a heart. Fair enough, eh?
No, you can't have it.
Monkey like her. You like her yellow hair. You see, want her.
No, make him stop.
You better give her to him. He like her hair. Hey, watch out, he bite you.
Make him go away. Please make him let go.
The monkey, the baby doll.
Please make him let go. I guess the thunder scared the monkey, too, because he let go of Henny's hair, and we got away and started running through the rain. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And then I remembered Chris. He'll help me. He's my best friend. Chris! Open the window.
Hi, Valerie. What's the matter?
Come on out and I'll tell you.
I'm not allowed. My mother says it's going to rain again.
Oh, please, Chris, please.
I can't.
But you have to. It's the most important thing in the whole world. And you have to help me.
Your father's looking for you.
Oh, Chris, then I really have to run away.
Where to?
Well, I don't know yet. Come with me, please.
What for?
To help with Henny. This is Henny.
She's pretty.
Like my mother. You could take care of her when I go to sleep. Then you could go to sleep and I'd watch her. It would be like playing house. And then she'll never die. Please.
I can't. Your father called the police from our house.
He did?
I guess they're out looking for you with sirens and badges and everything.
Oh, but I didn't do anything wrong, Chris. Why did he have to call the police?
I don't know. I have to go now, Val.
Oh, no, Chris, please, no.
Your father told me you were missing and all about how you look and what you're wearing.
What do they do to us if they catch us? Will they send us to jail? Will they, Chris?
No, they'll just make you go home, that's all.
But I can't go home. They'll put Henny in the incinerator. Paula said so. I heard her.
Oh, what? She's just a doll.
No, she's not. She's Henny. And if she dies, something will happen to me. I know it.
What are you talking about, Valerie?
Oh, Chris, help me, please.
I can't. And anyway, I don't want to run away.
Chris, get me a big box, big enough to put Henny in, and lend me a pair of your jeans and a jacket. I'll put them on in the garage, and they won't recognize me, and we'll be safe.
Sounds like a cuckoo head idea to me, but... Well, okay.
Just get them and throw them out the window. And you won't tell anybody you saw me, will you, Chris?
No. Not unless they make me.
I sneaked into the garage and put on Chris's clothes and fixed Henny up in the box as fast as I could. Then we started running away. It wasn't raining anymore, but it was getting pretty dark, and I was scared. And all of a sudden, I bumped right into somebody.
Hey!
It was a policeman.
What's the big idea?
Well, I'm very sorry about bumping into you.
Look where you're going.
Well, I know I'm sorry.
Shouldn't you be home having your supper?
Well, no.
I mean...
What's your name?
Henrietta.
Henrietta what?
Christopher.
Henrietta Christopher. That's a pretty name.
Thank you.
Now, what have you got in that box?
Well, see, that's why I'm not supposed to be home having my supper. Because there's a picnic luncheon here, and I'm taking it over to my friend's house. And we're going to eat it there.
How about a sample?
Oh, I don't think you'd care for it. It's just plain old peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches on whole wheat bread.
You must have an awful lot of them in there. A pretty big box.
Oh, my friend and I, we just love them.
Well, run along now. Have yourselves a ball.
It got darker and darker, and I didn't know where to go or what to do. I couldn't keep walking around because maybe the next policeman might look into the box and see Henny. And it was very hard finding hiding places to stop and wind her up. I had to go someplace that somebody in the whole world didn't know about except me. Then I could sit down and hold Henny in my lap and take care of her, and we'd be together forever and ever. So I decided my secret place down at the end of the garden would be the best place. That's where we are now, just Henny and me alone. The light in my father's room just went out. It's awfully dark, because there isn't even any moonlight. And all the noises of the night sound funny and close. Not like when you're asleep in bed, and you can hear the clock on the dresser. Ticking. Ticking. Tock. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. Tock. Tick. Tock. Henny! No, you're not dead. You're not. Oh, I'm winding you up just as fast as I can, Henny dear. Then you'll be alive again. Oh, please, please. I broke it. I broke your heart, Henny. Oh, I didn't mean to. Please, oh, please, don't stay dead. Don't stay dead like my mother did. Oh, Henny!
I'm afraid it is a heart attack. A fatal one, Doctor. It's too soon to tell.
And of course, Doctor, we've had to be prepared for something like this, knowing that she inherited the condition from her mother.
Yes, of course, but the doll brought it on.
What do you mean?
Surely you must realize it was an ill-chosen gift.
Why, it never occurred to me, Doctor. It didn't, George. Really, it didn't. I had no idea. It was just a silly little doll with a gadget. A different gadget from most dolls. George.
Suspense, in which Miss Patty McCormick starred in The Doll by Peggy Chandler. Listen again next week when we return with another play well calculated to keep you in suspense. Suspense is produced, directed, and taped in Hollywood by William N. Robeson. The special score for tonight's play was composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. Featured in the cast were Richard Beals, Mary Jane Croft, Shepard Menken, Dick LeGrand, and Louis Van Ruten. outstanding theater of thrills, and its producer, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
Good evening. Tonight we have taken a page from Collier's magazine. Several pages, in fact. A story called Where the Warriors Crossed by William Eastlake. We have added the chants of Navajo Indians and the histrionic talents of Reed Hadley, and then for reasons which are not entirely captious, we have changed the title. But the story is substantially the same, designed to be uneasily remembered long after the next 30 minutes have ended. A story of a tormented mind and a proud tradition. We begin now as Reed Hadley stars in Red Cloud Mesa, a tale well calculated to keep you in
suspense. Red Cloud Mesa, a great red stone pit, thrusting into the thin air above the flat plateau. There's none higher between Cayenta and Ship Rock. So high the clouds catch on it sometimes. Red clouds if the sun is rising or setting. Red Cloud Mesa. Below the mesa where the wheel tracks snake across the reservation from Gallup is the Red Cloud Trading Post. I'm the trader. One white man amongst thousands of Indians. Lonely? Yes, sometimes. But I like it. I think of the Navajos as my people. They think of me as their friend. That's the way it's always been with us. I was born here. I grew up here. Today, I nearly died here. I've been expecting you, Four Thumbs.
You're my prisoner, Captain.
That the same gun you killed the guard with?
How did you know?
The radio's full of it. How you shot your way out of the psychiatric ward of the Veterans Hospital. How
you believe everything you hear on the radio and read in the newspapers?
Most everything.
You'd believe them before you'd believe a man who served under you? A man that was in your outfit in France?
In this case, yes.
For an Indian, a quiet, padded cell is no place to die.
It's no place for anyone to die.
Then you won't turn me in, Captain?
Can't do anything else. Unless you leave.
I've got no place to leave to, Captain. That's why I come here. I counted on you to help me. You always have.
Have I?
Yes. In the Bulge that time, when my platoon was cut off for 6 days, you got through with help just in time. I couldn't have lasted a minute longer.
I got through a day too late.
You crazy? Look, Captain, I'm here. I'm alive. Save me. You got through just in time.
1, maybe 2 days too late. I'm sorry.
What you sorry for? I'm alive.
Yes, alive. You was alive when I got to him. That day in the Bulge. The only one left alive. He was giving orders to a platoon of dead men and carrying the orders out himself. It must have been like that for his forefathers who defended this final mesa here against the white man 100 years ago. Like them, he didn't know how to say surrender. He only knew that the mesa, this position somewhere on the flank of Astonia, must be held. He didn't know that his mind must be held also. And after the 6th day of the enemy breakthrough, after 6 days of the water, he didn't notice that his mind had deserted the action and left his body all alone defending the position. Give me that gun.
You'll hide me?
I don't know yet. Give me the gun and unlock the door.
No, I won't let them take me.
That's an order, Corporal. You're back in my outfit now. I take all the responsibility, and I give all the orders. Give me your gun.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, please open the door.
Yes, Captain.
You heard the news, Mr. Bowman.
What news?
That psycho from Window Rock broke out, killed a man, and ditched his car in the Shawili. They figure he's headed this way.
I heard.
We better be ready.
We are ready. Rabbit Stockings, I want you to meet one of us.
One of us?
One of us, I want you to meet Rabbit Stockings.
Yate, one of us.
Yate, Rabbit Stockings.
If he is headed this way, Mr. Bowman, I could begin to put my knowledge into motion.
Rabbit Stockings is referring to the correspondence course he's taking to learn to be an FBI man.
I am also taking a course in bodybuilding, pedicure, and diesel engines.
Why?
Because I don't want to be a dumb Indian all my life. I want to have a white man's diploma in something.
I think you're crazy.
Would you care to look at my latest Men Wanted bulletins?
No.
The truck is coming. Not a diesel. A gasoline-driven truck. I can tell by the sound.
Looks like old man McGurry's pickup.
Captain.
Maybe you'd better let Rabbit Stocking show you his FBI lesson, one of us.
Yes, sir.
Come then. Because you are Mr. Bowman's friend, I will show you the secret place where I hide my white man's knowledge from the dumb Indians.
I still think you're crazy.
Go out the back way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was old man McGurry's pickup, all right. But it carried a passenger I was expecting. State Trooper Arturo Trujillo, who was responsible to the citizens of New Mexico for keeping the peace in 1,000 square miles of Indian and white man's land. He was in old man McGurry's pickup because the state took a dim view of buying him a new front end for his black and white patrol car every time he had to chase an Indian through the backcountry.
What it is, George?
Oh, hi, Arturo. What's new?
We got Indian trouble. Give me a pack of cigarettes and a candy bar.
Yeah. Here you are.
Thanks. I'm supposed to be watching my figure, but they say this is quick iron.
How's the wife?
Well, she's watching her figure.
And McGurry's boy, he's still watching her figure?
Not anymore, he ain't. I had a talk with him the other night, out of uniform.
Uh-huh.
Where are you hiding the Indian?
Oh, that's why I pay my taxes, to pay you to find out where they hide.
New Mexico don't collect enough taxes for that. We need your help.
Don't ask me any questions, Arturo. Just don't ask me any questions.
Okay. But don't make me look bad.
Ever been in a padded cell, Arturo?
Oh, me? You damn crazy or something?
No, of course not. But take a look out that front window.
I've seen the view before.
Looking out there, you'd think this Navajo land went on forever. On and on from one blue range of mountains to the next. Can you imagine an Indian born out here dying in a padded cell?
Okay, George. Just don't make me look bad. That's all. Promise you won't make me look bad.
Promise me you won't try to be a hero?
Listen, you got 60,000 Indians on this reservation. Think I want to be a hero with those kind of odds? I like to come home nights in one piece.
I don't blame you. You have a very attractive wife. Here, take her some of these candy bars. My compliments.
All this time, I never suspected you.
Well, you should spend more time at home, Arturo.
I know. That's where I'm going now. But first, I got to take a look around. Got to make a report. Don't forget, I got a citizen outside. Old man McGurry. I got to go through the motions.
I'll send Yellow Salt for someone to show you around.
What can Yellow Salt do?
You don't understand these people, Arturo. Yellow Salt is an elder.
So he squats on the trading post porch all day while his wife herds the sheep.
It is the privilege of an elder.
Wish I knew their secret. Maybe I could get an honest day's work out of my wife.
I'll be right back. Ahalane, Nazoni.
Ahalane, Sansia.
The ending of the day finds you well, Yellow Salt?
Well enough. But I have been asking myself a question.
Oh, what is the question, brother? Perhaps I can help find an answer.
It is this, Sansia. What is the cop doing here?
He's perfectly safe. He's got to make a report. We don't want to make him look bad.
Sansia, this presents another question. What is it he doesn't want to look bad about?
That psycho boy, Four Thumb. He escaped and killed a man. The cop has orders to look for him. They want to put him back in a padded cell.
Then really, Sancia, what can I do not to help?
Why, really not to help? Go find me a boy named One of Us, who is with Rabbit Stocking, so he can show this officer around so that this officer can make out a report and not look so bad that they will send someone else who is thinking in terms of heroic action. Or worse, someone who is sincere.
As you say, then, I will do my very best not to help, since this officer is not sincere.
You know where Rabbit Stocking hides his white man's lessons.
Everybody knows. In that little cave where the petrified tree rolled off the edge of Black Canyon.
Everybody knows?
Even so, only Rabbit Stockings does not know that everybody knows. So he still has his secret.
My thanks go with you, brother.
It is an honor to be able not to help the police.
Someone will be here to show you around in a few minutes, Arturo.
Thanks, George. I just want to look. I don't want to look bad,
Don't worry, you won't look bad.
I always get the feeling that these Indians of yours don't trust me.
That they don't trust sincere people. Are you sincere, Arturo?
Huh? I don't get you.
Well, the Navajos feel that their nation has been cheated out of almost everything they ever owned by sincere people. I think they have a point there.
It looks like you don't trust them.
What do you mean?
How come you got this carbine leaning against the shipcase?
Hey, watch out, it's loaded.
But why?
I don't know, really. I live with that gun from Red Beach to the Rhine. Sort of became a part of me. I just feel better having it around.
Better or more sincere, George?
In just a moment, we return to tonight's tale of Suspense, Red Cloud Mesa, starring Reed Hadley.
I'd like to say a few words to you servicemen and women who are bed patients in Army, Navy, or Air Force hospitals. There's a good way and a profitable one you can spend your time while you're recuperating. And that's by enrolling for a USAFI course. Not only can you take one of more than 340 courses offered by USAFI, but the Institute has also prepared a list of some 40 educational manuals covering a variety of subjects, from the mechanics of English and the study of our American government to the management of a poultry farm and the running of a variety store. You'll find any one of the 40 microfilms interesting and of great value to your future. For a uniform education, study with USAFI.
And now, we continue with Red Cloud Mesa, starring Reed Hadley, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. I realize now how foolish I was. But at the time, I was seduced by the delicious irony of the situation. What less sincere way to make State Trooper Trujillo not look bad than to have the man he was hunting show him around? I thought I was thinking as a Navajo thinks. I should have realized that this is as impossible as it would be for Rabbit Stockings to think as a white man thinks.
It is very dark in here, Rabbit Stocking.
It should be. The sun has not warmed this earth for 60 million years. I have a candle somewhere. Here it is.
What is this talk of 60 million years?
Look about you. The roots of the ancient tree turned to stone. When the tree at last rolled into the canyon, it left this cave where its roots had been for 60 million years.
Where did you hear this child's story?
Mr. Bowman told me. The Sancia says it is science. See this rock? He says it's called petrified wood.
The Sancia is crazy. All white men are crazy.
Crazy enough to own the world. Crazy enough to herd all the dumb Indians onto reservations. You want to be a dumb Indian all your life? Don't you want to have a white man's diploma in something?
No.
because I'm not crazy.
I just cannot believe that one does not seek to better oneself.
Listen. You learn every word in those lessons. You think any white man will give you a job? They used to say the only good Indian is a dead Indian. Now they change it a little. They say the only good Indian is a dumb Indian, a blanket Indian. But you see, next time they go crazy, next time they start fighting, they'll change again. Then they'll say the only good Indian is the Indian who fights for his country. And they'll take you out and teach you to kill and kill and kill. They teach you so good, they get hurt feelings when you can't forget how to kill.
We are peaceful people, one of us. Not everyone is like that crazy psycho Indian from Window Rock who shot his way out of the...
I think I will kill you, Rabbit Stockings.
Put down that rock.
Petrified wood, you said it was. A piece of the Sansia's phony tree. But it's hard enough and sharp enough to smash your pretty head.
I do not understand. I meant nothing by what I said.
You said too much, Rabbit Stockings. You think this cave has been here for 60 million years? Very well. You shall remain in it for another 60 million.
No, don't. Go for Shara.
Huh? I'll take that rock. I didn't hear you behind me. I didn't mean that you should. It is an interesting rock. See how it glints in the candlelight? But Sansia's 60 million years. It's difficult for even an Indian to believe. Sansia's crazy.
Of course. You saved my life, Yellowstone.
He's crazy, too. Of course. The Sansia wants you back at the post. But he just sent me up here. Your name is one of us, is it not? No. Four Thumbs.
What?
I thought so. Come, the Sansia is waiting.
In the back room of the trading post, Ben Yarzi, the silversmith, was singing as he hammered away at a turquoise-studded gatehouse. Then a couple of women wandered into the store, carrying their babies wrapped on cradle boards. Silently, they unlivered the cradle boards and stacked their babies upright against the wall. Silently, they squatted beside them, never taking their eyes from Arturo Trujillo, the uniform symbol of white man's authority. A little later, old man Tornface slipped in without a word, his toothless mouth twisted into a permanent grin by a long-ago kick of a forgotten pony. Then a couple of dirty-faced kids with scraggly, uncombed hair. And they sat there, all of them, wordless.
They make me nervous, George. Tell them to get out.
They belong here, Arturo. You don't.
You're making me look bad in front of them, George.
What do you care, just so you don't look bad in front of the white men and Gallup?
All right, George. All right.
He turned his back on his silent audience, stamped out his cigarette, and began to build a pyramid with the candy bars I had given him for his wife. He worked at his pointless task with such intensity that sweat stood out in the afternoon stubble on his jaw. There was no sound now. It was silent inside the storeroom, silent as death. Outside, silence, too, save for the Albuquerque plain far off. And closer, a fly buzzing on the screen door. The pyramid was finished, all but the capstone. Arturo carefully raised the final candy bar.
Hey, what's the big idea? You made me wreck it.
You're crazy.
What did you say?
I said you're crazy. Want to make something of it?
I was just having some fun.
Arturo, this is one of us. He'll show you around.
Don't bother. I guess I've been here long enough to make a report. Old man McGurry is getting impatient.
Anything you say, Arturo?
Don't forget what you promised, George.
Oh, I won't, Arturo.
What did you promise, Ansia? You double-crossed me?
No, one of us. I promised him that you would not get caught by somebody else in his territory. And that you would always be a good soldier and not cause any more trouble so you would not die in a padded cell.
Why did you send for me to show him around?
If you showed him around, then he could not find you hiding, could he?
No, Captain.
You will go back now to Rabbit Stocking's cave. You will stay there until it is safe for you to take a hogan.
Yes, Captain.
Say, George, I forgot. Hey, you crazy Indian, put down the...
Hold on.
Cease fire! George! I only come back for the candy.
Four Thumbs stood at attention, eyes straight ahead. State Trooper Trujillo lay in the doorway, one boot holding the screen ajar. Lay very still. The buzzing fly eagerly circled the trickle of blood that oozed across the floor. One of the babies wailed in fright. The chant began. The chant of the enemy way. The chant that would protect the people from molestation by the ghost of this foreigner. I think you and I had better go up on the mesa, Corporal.
Yes, Captain. But...
Yes?
Beg pardon, sir, but I thought I was to go back to the cave.
A new situation has developed since then. It is necessary to change the orders.
Yes, sir.
Forward. Oh! Stretched away to the limitless yellow horizon as we started up the narrow trail along the face of the mesa. Already that giant red fist had snatched a streamer of cloud which floated wistfully toward where night crouched darkening blue in the east. We climbed silently, steadily, 10, 15 minutes, upward across the sheer face of the cliff. Four Thumbs holding the proper combat patrol distance 10 yards behind me. Steadily, up. Always up, toward the gathering clouds, now orange with the dying sun.
Captain.
Yes, Corporal?
I've still got the carbine.
I had forgotten completely. I turned slowly, erect, trying to look like a CO in my cowhide jacket and Levi's. Yes, he still had the gun. A Section 8 psycho who was also a combat infantryman still had the gun and still held his prescribed position 10 yards behind me. Well, I should hope so, Corporal. A man isn't much good on a patrol without a gun.
Yes, sir.
The trail was narrower now as it approached the switchback. 600 feet up the sheer cliff wall from the desert floor. And above, the clouds were thicker in the mesa's fist. All orange now, deep orange. Yes, Corporal.
Ever hear of an officer being shot in the back by one of his own men?
We were close to the clouds now. It was chill on the mesa, but I began to sweat, suddenly, explicably. And the sweat was not warm. Oh, you hear stories like that from time to time, back of the lines. Up front? Well, I suppose it depends on what kind of a leader a man is.
Yes, Captain.
We were clambering over boulders now. The great rocks that Four Thumbs' forefathers had rolled down from the mesa top, thinking to keep the white man away forever. They almost did. But defending this final fort, the top of this dry mesa, 200 feet above us in the clouds, they ran out of water. No one quit. They were still up there. And then we were at the switchback. And a moment later, we were in the cloud. A red cloud now, where the misty blood of the day's death surrounded us, cold, damp. The ghost stuff of the ancient warriors whose bones still lay above us. And their voices, too, it seemed, pressing on us in the clammy cloud. All right, take 5, Corporal.
Yes, sir.
I stopped and leaned back against the cliff wall. The trail was only a foot wide here. Out beyond the red mist. I waited. And only knew his coming by the sound of his footfalls until all at once he materialized beside me.
He leaned back, too, careful to keep the carbine on his right side, the side away from me.
I heard plenty of stories like that overseas, Captain.
Oh, I dare say it's happened. More than once. Any leader takes a chance. That's one of the risks of leadership. In combat, when a man's head races with blood, when it's kill or be killed, sure, it'll happen, but what? Well, when a soldier comes back out of the lines, when a soldier is back in the rear area and safe and begins to kill his own outfit, and there's nothing anyone can do to help him. Help? That's what I said. No longer any help for him. Then it's up to the soldier himself, if he isn't crazy, to figure out a way of saving the outfit he's destroying.
Yes, sir.
We're cut off completely up here, Corporal. You can do anything you want with the rest of the outfit. You've got the gun.
Yes, Captain.
That's the first time I never saw your carbine leaning against the countersunk here.
And you never will again, Rabbit Stockings.
I'd expect that dumb Indian to bury a man's weapon with him, but not a white man. It was a valuable gun.
My people believe a man is more valuable. And we respect your ancient customs.
Thank you. And thank your people. It must have been quite a climb, carrying his body all the way to the top of the mesa.
That's where he belonged. Up there with the other warriors.
Those old people, cut off up there without water. They must have gone crazy before they died.
Probably.
But they stuck it out when they could have quit.
Yes, they did. And he was their son. Suspense. In which Reed Hadley starred in Red Cloud Mesa. Listen. Listen to Suspense when we return with Miss Sarah Churchill in Charles Dickens' tale of terror, The Signalman. A story well calculated to keep you in suspense. Suspense is produced and directed in Hollywood by William N. Robeson. Red Cloud Mesa was adapted by Mr. Robeson from the Collier's Magazine story, Where the Warriors Crossed by William Eastlake. Suspense. And its producer, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
We are honored to bring you one of today's most talented actresses, Miss Sarah Churchill, starring in one of yesterday's most chilling tales, The Signalman, by Charles Dickens. More often than not, a classic suffers in transition from one medium to another. The transcribed play you are about to hear is an exception to this generality. The late great writer-director Irving Reese, in his adaptation, has given a dimension to the story that the late great Charles Dickens never imagined. We suggest that you might find it interesting to read the Dickens story after listening to this, the Reese dramatization of The Signalman, starring Miss Sarah Churchill. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
It had smashed by, like a wounded monster screaming in pain, and disappeared into the dark tunnel. In those brief seconds, I'd relived the emotions of my childhood. I still trembled with the child's terror and fascination that had surged through me the many times I stood here 20 years before. Nothing had changed. The steep, dripping wet walls of jagged stone that led down to the track. The gloomy mouth of the tunnel. The small signalman's shack huddled against the side of the cutting. Even the job was held by the same man they had told me in the village. He stood there in the glow of an angry sunset, furling a signal flag around a short pole. I called to him. Hello! Below! Instead of looking up at me, he turned tensely to stare toward a red signal light that glowed at the mouth of the tunnel. Hello, below there! He finally turned, slowly it seemed to me, even fearfully, and looked up. He stared at me unanswering. I was afraid the suddenness of my call had unnerved him. I tried to compensate by being overly casual. Hello! I would like to speak to you. Is there a path I can use to come down? He stared silently a while longer, then finally pointed his flag to a spot in the cutting embankment. It was a zigzag path with small footholds cut through the clammy stone. A track seemed a mile below, but I was determined to get down. Midway, I sensed a vague vibration of earth and air, like a sound that could be felt but not heard. I tried to fight down a fear that suddenly gripped me. The air was filled with a violent pulsation. I seemed to have a force that could draw me down. I suddenly threw my hands up to my eyes as though to shut out some terrible sight. And then I flattened myself against the jagged rock and clutched hard. Then I was angry with myself, ashamed of this uncontrolled childish reaction. I could see the signalman still staring at me. I climbed down the rest of the way quickly and carelessly, and I walked towards him with a casual smile. He watched me expectantly. Hello. I'm Amy Fair. I used to live in the village. I was anxious to speak to you. I'm sorry if I startled you when I called down.
Why did you use those words?
Those words? I hardly remember. I think I shouted, hello, below there, or something to that effect.
Not to that effect, miss. Those were the very words. I know them well. Admit those were the words.
All right. I admit.
Why did you use them?
Well, you were below. I wanted to attract your attention, so I called, hello, below there. Seems logical, doesn't it?
Aye, miss. If you have no other reason.
For what other reason could I possibly have?
I thought you would tell me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have come down. I think I've frightened you.
Now, why would you think that, miss?
Well, you stared at me as though you had a dread of me.
Aye, miss. I was doubtful whether I'd seen you before.
Well, if you have, it was when I was 8 years old, standing on that bridge over the tunnel up there. I used to love watching the train. This is my first visit back in 20 years. You don't believe me.
I'm not certain.
Where could you have seen me?
Don't you know?
Since I've been away for 20 years,
Up there, by the red signal light at the mouth of the tunnel.
That's why you turned and stared there when I first called.
Aye.
What would I be doing up at the signal light?
I don't know. I wish I... No, it's a mistake, miss. I haven't been well. What is it you wish to speak to me about?
Well, I'm a writer. I wanted to interview you.
Me? Why, miss?
Well, my magazine does a weekly biographical piece on interesting people and unusual occupations. It's called Close-Up.
Yeah, miss. I've read them.
You have?
You seem surprised.
Right. But pleased, perhaps.
Well, it wasn't so unsophisticated as
I really didn't mean that.
Well, there's a bit of a fire in my shack. It'd be more comfortable for you there. Won't you come in?
Yes, thanks. My, this is a lonely post. Visitors must be rare.
Aye, miss. The branch superintendent makes an annual inspection. Yeah, and that's all. Except for...
Yes?
Come in, please.
Oh, how snug and comfortable.
Aye. Most of my waking life is spent here. I've tried to make it pleasant.
And you've succeeded. You were speaking of visitors just as we came in.
I put this chair nearer the fireplace. One chilled out there.
I say, you have a fine collection of books.
Aye. They've given me much companionship in the long nights.
Pretty weighty companions. Gibbon's Decline and Fall, Burton's Anatomy of Melancholy, Darwin...
Did they surprise you again, miss?
May I be frank? I'll have to be if I'm to succeed with the article. My editor is only interested in...
Odd?
Well, the unusual.
And the level of my reading seems above the level of my station.
Not many people in any station these days...
Oh, come now, miss. With you call for frankness.
All right. Why would a man with a mind capable of absorbing these subjects stay on a desolate job like this?
Well, you see, when I was a young man, I became very interested in the natural philosophies. I set my course, I studied hard, planned the future. And then I ran wild, miss. I misused my opportunities. They went down, and I've never risen again. Oh, I've no complaint. I've made my bed. It's too late to make another.
Maybe you gave up too soon.
No, miss, no. There are forces beyond us that shape us. One must know when not to resist, miss. Oh, I might have blooded myself a while longer, but I knew. I took this position 34 years ago.
And you've never regretted?
Oh, no. Not until...
Until what? Won't you please tell me?
You first tell me what brought you here.
But I have.
Well, you said nothing of what made you think of this place specifically. There are many places and people.
Well, I told you. I used to come here as a child. The train frightened and fascinated me. I've always remembered it vividly through the years. I promised myself that one day I would come back and do a story on it. Good subjects aren't easy to find, you know.
Why did you choose just now to come?
These ideas germinate in a writer's mind for a while, and then an impulse...
And you were drawn here.
You say that as though mystic forces were involved. It was much simpler, I assure you. I'd been working hard. I decided that a few days in the country would do me good. I planned to use them profitably by doing a story on you.
But you might have come to that decision last month or last year.
Well, that's true, but I can't see why you attach such special significance to the fact that I...
Why did they frighten you so?
Wouldn't you think I might outgrow that silly childish fear? If I was drawn here, as you say, I guess it was to see whether I had. The modern psychiatrist would say it was a desire to relive a childhood experience.
Aye, miss. There are many answers. Philosophers have even speculated on the possibility that the future can intrude on the memory as well as the past.
But surely you don't believe that.
I believe only in the evidence of my five senses.
May I ask, why did you go to the door?
To check the tunnel light.
But does it need to be checked so often? You did before we came in. Why are you staring at me so?
Was I staring at you?
Please, something is preying on your mind. Can't you tell me?
The fire needs staring.
You're avoiding my question.
There's nothing here, miss. Your coming was a mistake. An old man in a railroad tunnel, it would require considerable imagination to make an interesting story of that.
What exactly are your duties?
Oh, their responsibilities more than actual work, miss. Exactness and watchfulness are required most. Seeing that the signals operate, turning the switching handle now and then, listening to the telegraph ticker to see if the post is wanted. Not much else.
Do the hours weigh heavily through the night?
It's very difficult to impart, miss. It's very difficult to speak of. Now, if you ever make another trip, I'll try to tell you.
Yes, of course. And I will have to make several trips before the story takes shape. When may I come again? Tomorrow?
Miss, if you wish.
I returned the next night as the distant clocks were striking 9. The signalman waited for me at the bottom of the cutting with his white light shining. We walked silently to his shack, entered it and sat down by the fire. I didn't wish to press him, so I said nothing. He stared at the burning embers for a moment and then turned to me.
I'm going to tell you, Miss, as best I can, what troubles me.
I'm glad.
I mistook you for someone else last night. That troubles me.
The mistake.
There's someone else.
Who is it then?
I don't know.
What did it do?
But this time it stands with its left arm across its face. The right arm is waved violently this way. As though to say, for God's sake, clear the way. Clear the way.
You've heard those words?
Oh, no, I'm not certain, not about those specific words, but I have heard it called before.
When?
One moonlight night about a year ago, I was sitting here when I heard a voice cry, "Hello! Below there!"
That's why you were startled when I used the word.
I ran to the door and I looked out and I saw just someone else standing up there by the red light near the tunnel, waving its arm as I just showed you. The voice was hoarse with shouting and it cried, "Hello! Below there! Look out! Look out!" I caught up my lamp and I ran towards the figure calling, "What's wrong? What has happened? Where?" When I got to the light, it was gone.
Did you see where?
Well, the tunnel was the only place it could go without passing me. I ran into the tunnel, 100 yards or so, and I searched around with my light. Then I ran back here and I telegraphed both ways. An alarm had been given. Is anything wrong? And the answer came back both ways. All's well.
Of course. Now I'm going to take advantage of last night's permission to be frank. You've been here more than 30 years, haven't you?
Huh?
It isn't the most cheerful place in the world, with that moaning wind through the tunnel and the wild heart it makes of the telegraph wires. It's understandable that you could have the illusion you've heard a call. And anyone staring at the dark long enough as you did from the door could imagine seeing something. You've let it prey on your mind so long, it seems real.
I was not... I was not finished, miss.
I'm sorry.
Within 6 hours after it first appeared, the main line flyer crashed and derailed at the far end of the tunnel. And within 10 hours, the dead and the wounded were being brought through the tunnel over to the spot where the figure stood.
Coincidence. A tragic, remarkable coincidence. But don't you see that...
There is more, miss.
Please forgive me.
6 or 7 months passed, and I'd recovered from the surprise and shock when, one morning, just as daylight was breaking, I looked towards the red light, and I saw it again.
Did it cry out?
No, it was silent.
It didn't wave its arm?
No, miss, no. It leaned against the post with both hands covering the eyes like this, as though to blot out some terrible sight.
That's why you asked me why I had put my hands to my eyes as I came down the path.
Why, miss, you called out the words it used the first time, and you covered your eyes as it did the second time.
Go on, please.
Well, that very day, as the train came out of the tunnel, I noticed a confusion of hands and heads at one of the coach platforms. And something waved. I saw it in time to flag down the engineer. He applied his brakes, but the train drifted past here, about 100 yards. As I ran up to it, I heard terrible screams and cries. A beautiful young woman had fallen between the cars. And she was brought in here. She died on this very spot between us.
How horrible. But I still don't see...
One final word, miss, and you'll judge how my mind is troubled. It came back a week ago. And ever since, it's been there.
At the light?
Aye. It covers its eyes. It waves its arm. It shouts, "For God's sake, clear the way! Clear the way!" I've no rest or peace for it. It caused me many minutes together in an agonized manner. Below there, look out! Look out! It stands waving at me. It sounds the telegraph ticker.
Did it sound the ticker last night while I was here?
Twice.
I assure you it was your imagination. The ticker did not sound last night.
No, I've never made a mistake after that, miss. I don't wonder that you failed to hear it, but I heard it.
You hear it now?
Aye.
What does it say?
It isn't clear.
I can help you, but you must face realistically what I have to say. Will you try?
Aye. I'll try, miss.
These accidents have shaken you deeply. You feel guilt about them, even though there was nothing you could do. You've let it prey on your mind until you imagine someone tried to warn you.
I saw and heard that someone...
Even the senses can deceive when the mind is under stress. Men dying of thirst on the desert imagine lakes and hear running streams.
Oh, miss, the bodies of the dead were real enough.
I'm speaking of what you imagined after the accident. If you let me, I'll prove to you, step by step, that the specter existed only in your fantasy.
How can you prove that in the face of what I've just told you?
By appealing to the intelligent, reasoning portion of your mind. Listen. You were positive when you first saw me that I was the specter that you saw at the light, weren't you?
You used the same words.
Well, now listen carefully. I appeal to the intelligent, well-read, reasonable man. 3 words. Hello below there. I was more than 100 feet away at the top of the embankment, and you were here below with darkness falling. And 3 words made you positive you had seen me before. Can't you see you were trying to fit something to what you already believed?
But then you put your hands to your eyes.
They're the proof. You have allowed yourself to believe some disaster is about to befall. When I covered my eyes because of a childish fear, you fitted that to what you already believed.
Oh, no, the telegraph ticker
You must hear me out. Would you at any other time, or would anyone at any time, believe that a telegraph ticker could sound in a room this small and be heard by one person and not the other?
But I told you.
Now, the most important proof. You said that when you went to the door last night, it was there by the red danger light.
Aye, it was.
Will you come to the door with me now and tell me if it is still there? Well, do you see it?
No. No, miss. It's not there.
And I'm going to prove to you that it never was there. I studied the light from the top of the hill before I came down tonight. The post is at least 7 feet high. The light is shielded with a hood. Even if a person stood directly under it or in front of it, they would be in complete shadow, in darkness. You couldn't see that person from this door, and you couldn't see that person if you walked within a few yards of her or him or it. I'm going to walk up the incline now to the light and prove it to you. I walked up the inclining tracks towards the red light at the mouth of the tunnel. Chill, dank wind had an edge like a cold knife. When I got to the light post, I stood directly under it. No portion of the red glow reached me. I was lost, completely in the dark. I saw the signalman silhouetted in the yellow light of the doorway. Hello? Can you see me? Hello below there. Can you see me?
No.
Good. Now start walking toward me and tell me when you can see me. He stepped between the rails of the northbound track on a line with the red signal light and walked toward me. Suddenly, the icy hand of my childhood dread gripped me. There was a vague vibration of the earth and air. Far behind him, coming up the great fast, I could begin to see the glow of the locomotive's light. Look out! Look out! For God's sake, clear the way! Clear the way! He walked as though in a spell. He didn't hear me. Oh, he wouldn't hear me. I was rooted to the gravel. I threw my left arm up to my eyes and waved my right arm frantically. Below there! Long after it was over, they found me, still standing there, both of my hands up to my eyes, to shut out the terrible sight.
Suspense, in which Miss Sarah Churchill starred in Irving Reese' adaptation of Charles Dickens' story, The Signalman. Suspense. And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
Among the great classics of radio drama, none is more memorable than Three Skeleton Key, although few who have heard it would remember it by that title. To them, it is simply that story about the rats. And that it is, an unforgettable experience in horror. We repeat it now because we can't help ourselves. We like to scare as well as you like to be scared. Listen then as Vincent Price stars in Three Skeleton Key.
And now, Three Skeleton Key, starring Vincent Price. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Try and picture this place. A gray tapering cylinder welded by iron rods and concrete to the key itself. A bare black rock, 150 feet long, maybe 40 wide. That's at low tide. At high tide, just the light rising 110 feet straight up out of the ocean. And all about it, the churning water, gray-green, scum-dappled, warm as soup. And swarming with gigantic bat-like devilfish, great violet schools of Portuguese man-o'-war, and, yes, sharks, the big ones, 15-footers. And as if this wasn't enough, there was a hot, dank, rotten-smelling wind that came at us day and night off the jungle swamps of the mainland. A wind that smelled like death. Set in the base of the light is a watertight bronze door. And in you go, and up, round and round. Over the light storeroom is the food storeroom, and over the food storeroom is the bunk room where the three of us slept. And over the bunk room is the living and cooking room, and over the living and cooking room is the light. She was a beauty, balanced like a ballerina on the glistening steel axle of her rotary mechanism. My companions in the light were an odd and opposite pair. Big Louie, the head man who hardly ever talked, and Auguste, who never stopped. But it wasn't a bad life, especially at night when the others were snoring in their sacks 2 levels down. Usually there was nothing to see across the starlit water. Most ships knew better than to come close to Three Skeleton Key. But one night, gazing out across the phosphorescent combers, I noticed something show for a second in the revolving light. Something far off. A three-master. A big one. About half a mile off and coming down out of the north-northwest, coming straight for us. I went over to the gallery door and yelled, "Louie! Louie! Ship headed for the reef! I had the glasses out now. I couldn't read her name, but I could see her quite plainly. All sails set, the foam creaming away under her bow, her beautiful lines, but why didn't she turn? Every time our light turned, it hit her with the glare of day. The ship? Where? Northwest. The light will touch her in a moment.
Can't they see?
Look at her. She just keeps coming on.
Oh, the squareheads. What is it?
Watch northwest, August.
Huh? I know what it is. The Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman. She is derelict. That's it.
Derelict?
Abandoned.
crew left her for some reason or other, but instead of sinking, she's gone on, running before every wind.
She'll not run long, not with these reefs to break her up. Beautiful ship. Now, why would men leave a beautiful ship like that?
Impossible. Absolutely impossible.
What?
Here, take my glasses. They're stronger than yours.
All right. What is it you're... Rose in my throat. The decks were swarming with a dark brown carpet that looked like a gigantic fungus, but undulating, and on the masts and yards were hundreds, no, thousands, no, millions, I don't know, an inestimable number of tremendous rats. We stood there, the three of us, frozen in terror, peering through our binoculars, as the rat-covered ship gracefully, relentlessly bore down upon the quay, until at last, with a horrible certainty, splintering and grinding upon the rocks, she ran aground.
Look, the rats on the water, like a carpet.
They're swimming.
Oh, sure, they're swimming. Those are ship's rats.
But they're swimming for the rocks.
The door, below, it's open. Come on!
Down we went, racing down the stone stairs, taking them 3 and 4 at a time. Scared? You bet we were scared.
Well, don't you get the windows there? They can climb. We don't know.
All right, Chief. But hurry, hurry.
You see them?
No. Yes, I do. Up at the other end of the rock.
Look at them, me! And they smell us. Here they come. Close the door. I can't. It's stuck off here. Let me. Oh, move, you. Move.
Made it.
Oh, that went close.
One got in.
What?
Look, there.
Yeah? What did he do? Kick him. No.
He was as big as a tomcat, bigger. And his eyes were wild and red, his teeth long and sharp and yellow. He went for us, starving, ravenous, and we fought him. Fought that one rat all over the room. It was, oh, believe me, I do not exaggerate. It was like fighting a panther.
I got him.
We ran up the winding staircase. We passed the tiny windows of the various levels, and every one was covered with a thick, wriggling, screaming curtain of brown fur. The air of the gallery was thick and fetid with the stink of them. The light was dim, brown, filtered through the crawling mass that swarmed over the glass all about us. We could not see the sky, nothing but them. Their red eyes, their claws, their wriggling, hairy snouts, and their teeth.
What can we do? Chief?
Take it easy, August. Take it easy.
Oh, I just can't.
It won't do any good. It won't do any good to stand here and shake.
Go away. Go away. Do you hear me? Go away.
They won't go away. Not until the...
Finish it, Chief. Not until what?
Not until they've been fed. All day long, we sat there in silent horror, watching the writhing mass trying to reach us through the glass, and then at last it began to get dark. One side of the room was lit a soft, filtered red. Sunset through the rats. Very pretty. I set the wicks, checked my fuel, and then lit the lamp. It caught them, lit them in their gigantic, wriggling web of pale, hairless bellies, twitching red tails, bright eyes. And then I started the rotary motor. The light drove them mad. As she swung slowly and smoothly about, she blinded them in the fierce, stabbing bar of light, moving continually about, ever turning, ever touching, ever moving around and around, and they twitching and shuddering, eyes flaming when they were struck by the light, blinking and twinkling like the stars of hell. You must make the most of any situation to endure it. And we found a way to entertain ourselves by teasing the rats. Sounds crazy, horrible? It was fun. We would get right up against the glass and make faces at them. It drove them crazy. They would scratch away, trying to get at our eyes. Louis was even cuter about it. He'd pull a piece of bread out of his pocket and press it against the glass. The rats would scramble into a solid ball, biting each other, clustering like grapes. From time to time, a whole lot of them would slip and fall the 110 feet to the surf below.
Look! Look at the sharks. They're eating them. Sharks are our friends. Oh, here, I'll get another bunch to get it. Here, little beauties. Yeah, that's it. Pile up. Kill each other. There they go.
Auguste joined in, too. Very ingenious, Auguste. He learned that if he spread-eagled himself against the glass, they'd bunch and bundle against his figure. Then he'd leap back. Look, my portrait is wrapped. I went off watch about midnight, and I was just falling asleep when I became conscious of a new sound. I couldn't figure it at first. I got up, lit the lamp, and went to the window. Even as I looked at it, I saw one of the panes begin to sag in. They were eating the wood away. Louis, come quick. They found a way in. I held the glass with my hand. And now they were all going crazy, and assured of the success of this maneuver, they were nibbling away at the frame. Louis ran below and then returned with a large sheet of tin. We spread it against the window and hammered it into place. Even as we did so, we felt the heavy body thudding against the other side as the window gave way.
That ought to hold. Yeah. If it doesn't, we're done for.
Rats can't eat tin.
No. What was that?
I don't know.
Well, it came from below.
The storeroom window.
They're in. They're swarming up the stairs.
Drop the trap door.
Right.
Two of them got in.
Huh? Go after them.
We didn't have to go after them. They came at us. I leaped to one side and grabbed them on spikes, swung and smashed one in midair. I whirled to see Louis with the other. It had ripped his hand open, and the blood was pouring all over the place. He held his hand aloft and kicked at the snarl. I stepped in, swung, and got it.
My hand. He got my hand.
It's both of them, Louis. I'll get you something to tie that up.
Bleeding. Look at it. My blood. I'm bleeding.
Don't worry about it, Louis. Now, look. I'll wind this kerchief about it. It'll be okay. There, now, it's not bad, just the flesh. Then I became conscious of a new sound. They were gnawing their way through the wooden trapdoor. I watched the planks, fascinated, and even as I did, it began to give way. A bristling, whiskery snout showed through.
The gallery. The trapdoor in the gallery is sealed.
Good. Come on. We made it. We lay across the trap, exhausted, while below us the rats took over the entire tower. I could hear them howling and fighting over our food supply, our water, our leather, and all about us the others screamed and glared in at us, swaying in a tangled mass, hypnotized by the ever-turning light. By morning, the air in the little room was horrible. Until now, we'd been getting air from the tower below. Now that was sealed off. And so was all our food and water. We lay exhausted, panting, waiting. The hours crawled on. I was almost dozing from fatigue when I heard something that brought me to my feet.
Would you like to come in, my beauty?
Would you?
I hold the powers of life and death, and I can let you in, you know.
Auguste was standing by the glass, and in one hand he held a big wrench. He was tapping the glass gently, not quite hard enough to break it. I eased myself to my feet and slowly, very slowly, tiptoed toward him.
All I have to do is tap just a little harder, and
for company and all about watching our little drama, the rats. The following day we lay, thirst-tormented, starving, waiting. And the following night I again tended the light. But the small supply of spare wicking we kept in the gallery had become exhausted, and quite suddenly at about midnight, the light went out. There was nothing I could do. Wicks were stored 3 levels below. Nothing I could do, nothing. From time to time, I'd strike a match to see the clock. And when I did, it lit up the million red eyes about it. watching, waiting. Below it had grown quiet. They'd cleaned us out, and now they, too, were waiting. All waiting. And then the rats, quite suddenly, were silent. And then I heard it. And then I saw the sky and the stars. The rats were gone. I went to the glass. Out there on the water, a small freighter, a banana boat, came softly and innocently at us. The light was out. They didn't know. I wanted to open the windows, to call out to them, to warn them somehow, but I was afraid. What if the rats were hiding from me, tricking me? And so I waited. She grounded very softly on a reef not 200 yards from the quay. Grounded so gently that the man playing the cornet, was he a passenger, a crewman off watch, didn't even stop playing. They tried washing her back off. I could have told them to save their fuel. The tide was rising, would have floated her free. And I waited. That's all. That's the story. The sun came up and there wasn't a rat on the whole quay. Every last one of that terrible army had deserted us, gone back to sea on their new ship. August, insane asylum, he never recovered. And Louis, they took him into Cayenne, where he died of blood poisoning from his bite. Life on Three Skeleton Key isn't bad these days, but sometimes when I see a strange vessel approaching, I get a little nervous. Can you blame me? Somewhere on the seas, there's a little banana boat without a crew. That is, without a human crew.
Suspense, in which Vincent Price starred in William N. Robeson's production of Three Skeleton Key, written by George Tuduz and adapted for Suspense by James Poe. Listen again next week, when we return with another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
America listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
Suspense. And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. And once more. No, this is not a caprice. It is a thoughtful precaution. Fill your lungs well now, for you will be holding your breath for the next 30 minutes as you live through The Long Night with Frank Lovejoy. A tale well calculated to keep you in
suspense.
This is United 404, 10,000 over outer range. Request lower altitude, over.
United 404, this is Rockford Tower. Maintain present altitude until further advised, over.
United 404, roger, Rockford, over and out.
Rockford Radio, this is Delta 318, over.
Delta 318, this is Rockford Radio, go ahead.
Delta 318, request permission for radio approach. I'm over Milford Hills at 4,000, over.
Delta 318,
you stand on the airport control tower, 90 feet up in the sky over Rockford Field, waiting to go on the night watch. And you'll listen to the babble of voices that fill the crowded room in an endless series of requests. Request for altitude change, request for landing permission, request for the weather.
Here is the 9 o'clock weather. Low, straightest clouds over the entire Mississippi Valley, spreading out over the central states. Visibility 2 miles, ceiling 2,200 feet and lowering steadily. Smoke,
clouds,
and haze,
smoke, haze, and fog, and a ceiling getting lower every minute. You look out through the tinted glass windows into the misty night, and you think of the strangers overhead, in and above the clouds. And you wonder if they, too, feel the hush as the long night begins. You wonder if the strangers, with the throb of engines and the harsh rasp of many voices in their ears, can feel the stillness. You look around the tower room, you look and you listen to the voices, and you're glad every time a ship touches down safely on the long, light-lined runways.
Okay, Brother Ken, you can have it. For me, it's been a long day.
Traffic been heavy?
It started sort of slow, but it's building up. I got 3 converging on the outer marker and 2 inbound on the range. It's all here on the board for you.
Yeah, okay.
They're beginning to stack up over Chicago, but that's their worry.
Yeah, and they can have it.
Yeah. Well, happy landings, man.
Yeah, so long, Charlie.
Night, John.
Rockford Tower, this is TWA Flight 70 requesting weather your field. Over.
Hello, TWA 70. This is Rockford. We have straightest clouds, ceiling of 2,000, visibility under 2 miles. Smoke, haze, and fog on the ground. Over.
What is your traffic there, Rockford?
5 inbound inside the 20-mile range, 1 Convair and 2 DC-7s outbound on the red. Over.
Okay, Rockford, this is TWA 70 requesting change of flight plan to land your field instead of Chicago.
Roger, TWA. I'll notify Chicago and clear you in. Give us a call when you pass the Milburn Hills. Rockford out.
Roger, thanks very much.
Give Chicago a call, Mike. Tell them their Flight 70 is terminating here.
Okay, Ken, we'll do. Hello, Chicago. Rockford Radio.
Rockford Tower, this is Beechcraft Bonanza N91457.
Hello, Beechcraft N91457. This is Rockford Tower.
I've been homing on your range, and apparently my automatic direction finder isn't working right. I think I'm lost.
Stand by, 457. Check the flight file, will you, Mike? See if he's on it.
All right.
Hello, Rockford. Are you hearing me, Rockford? If you are, please give me a call.
This is Rockford. We're reading you fine, Beach. Hold on a second. Find anything on it, Mike?
Nope, there's nothing here, Ken. No flight plan.
Okay. Hello, Beechcraft N91457. This is Rockford Tower. What seems to be the trouble with your ADF?
I don't know exactly, Rockford. I'm not too familiar with this equipment. But I don't think it's working right because I've been changing from one range to another just like I was told to. And I ought to have been somewhere over Minneapolis long ago. And I'm not.
All right, Beechcraft. We'll work something out for you. Where are you flying from?
Indianapolis.
Headed on a direct flight to Minneapolis?
That's right, Rockford. I set my automatic direction finder just exactly the way I was told to when they installed it.
Did you make any visual checks against what your ADF showed?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Did you check your course when you passed over the Airways range stations by looking at visual ground objects like signs on the top of oil tanks telling you what city you were over, anything like that?
No, I'm afraid I didn't. I thought my ADF was working, so I didn't think about anything else.
Okay. Now, what was your last known position?
Last known? Well, I'm trying to think. I guess the last time I positively knew where I was when I departed Indianapolis.
What time was that?
About 5:30, maybe 5:45.
5:30? Verify that time. That would be more than 3 hours en route. You should be well out of my range.
Yeah, I know. But I've been circling for more than an hour, trying to make the ADF work and looking for Rockford.
What is your remaining fuel supply?
Well, I guess there's no use kidding myself. I think I've got about 45 minutes, maybe at the very best, an hour.
Well, here is the situation. The weather here is solid overcast at 600, visibility 1 mile in smoke and haze. Do you see any towns, rivers, highways that you can identify?
No, I can't see anything but clouds. I'm on top.
Holy smoke, did I hear that right?
Yes, you did. Beechcraft, did you say you were on top?
That's right, on top of a solid layer. Have been for a long time.
At what altitude?
I'm at 5,000 indicated, about 1,000 above the clouds.
457, take a good look around you. Are there any breaks in the overcast? Can you see any holes, any thin spots in the area at all?
No, it's solid. It's a completely solid layer.
Are you an instrument pilot?
What do you mean?
I mean, are you checked out on instruments? Do you have instrument training?
No, I've never been on instruments in my life. I'm just lost.
You look at the clock, 9:04. You look at the clock and mentally give yourself 45 minutes. 45 minutes to find him, bring him in, and get him on the ground. You check the latest weather chart and you don't like what you see. Your mouth feels dry. You reach for a cigarette as you punch the mic button and do the next thing that must be done. Rockford Tower to all planes working this frequency. We have an emergency. Repeat, we have an emergency. Please maintain radio silence on this frequency until further notice. Out. Rockford Tower to Beechcraft, N91457. Come in, 457.
Okay, Rockford.
Tell me, how did you get on top?
Well, it was almost clear when I left Indianapolis. I climbed straight out to 5,000, and later, while I was trying to get the ADF working, I found myself on top. It just happened.
Yes, are you familiar with range orientation?
No, I don't know anything about that either. I'm just a businessman with a new airplane. I know only enough about the radio to tune in the stations. I know I'm lost, though, and need help. These gas tanks aren't getting any fuller.
Yes, I know, 457. I understand. Sure, you understand, but he doesn't. He knows he's lost and he needs help. He understands that. But he doesn't know what the odds are on getting him straightened out and over the field and then getting him down through that solid layer of clouds. You fight down a sudden urge to push the microphone button and scream at him. To tell him that nobody forced him into an airplane he hardly knew how to fly. Nobody forced him to take off on a long night cross-country in weather suitable only for experienced professionals. But you know there's no time for hindsight. There's hardly any time for hopes. So you push the black button and you try to sound calm. Hello, 457. This is Rockford Tower. Now, listen to me carefully. Are you reading me okay?
Yeah. Hello, Rockford. I'm hearing you fine. Loud and clear.
All right. Now I'm going to try to get a fix on you, but before I do, I want you to know what the situation is. I'm sure I can find you. I'm reasonably sure I can get you over the airport before you're out of fuel. I am not sure, though, that we can get you on the ground. Do you understand?
No, I don't understand. I'm lost and I'm about out of gas and I don't understand why we're wasting time talking about it. You get me over an airport and then we'll worry about getting on the ground.
All right, but you understand this. It's my job to help find you. It's my job to help you find the airport, and I'll do everything I can to get you on the ground. But flying that airplane through those clouds will be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. Do you understand that?
Okay, I understand. Now, what are we going to do?
Now, we're going to orient you by radio and bring you in over the Rockford Airport. I will tell you what must be done, but you have got to do it. I can't fly your airplane for you. Do you understand?
Yeah. Okay, Rockford. I understand.
You know the standard procedures for range orientation. You've run over every step of them 1,000,000 times for just this kind of emergency. That's one of the reasons you're up here in this modern Tower of Babel on these long nights. But you've got 2 strikes against you on this one. Time, you read the clock at 9:07, and a fool in an airplane. Mike.
Yeah, Ken.
Get Chicago Control Center on the horn. Ask them to set up an alert of all facilities within 100 miles.
Roger.
You better get them to clear all altitudes in the area below 6,000 feet.
Okay, we'll do.
You know, I don't know whether to try to get him down through the clouds now and then try to bring him in, or whether to get him over us on top and then let him down where we won't lose radio contact if he gets too low.
Well, it's souped up all across the valley, Ken. You might get him down through it, but if he's too far out, he'd have no chance of getting here under the ceiling.
Yeah, and if I don't get him started at something, he'll be out of fuel anyway, and it won't matter. I'm going to bring him in on top.
Okay, I'll check weather very closely, Ken. If I hear of any breaks, I'll give it to you.
Good, thank you. Hello, 457. This is Rockford Tower.
Yeah, okay, Rockford.
I'm going to speak very distinctly. And if you don't understand any part of what I tell you, come in and break me off. It's vital that you understand me. Is that clear?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Now, I want you to listen very closely to my range signal. Put everything else out of your mind. Listen and describe exactly what you hear.
Okay. Hello, Rockford. I hear a code sound. Is that the range?
That's right. What does it sound like?
Well, it goes da-dit, da-dit.
Okay, 457. Now, is it loud or soft?
It's pretty loud.
Okay, that's the N quadrant. Now, I want you to tune to the Madison, Wisconsin range and tell me what you hear.
Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, hello, Rockford. I've got the Madison range.
What does it say?
It's just like the other, only backwards. Dida. Dida.
That's right.
I can hardly hear it, but it's there all right.
Yeah, okay, 457. That's the A quadrant. Now I want you to try Peoria and then Chicago. Rockford, Madison, Peoria, Chicago. 4 corners to check from. 4 radio sounds that you hope he's reading correctly. You finish the check and he comes through without a bobble, and you know you have him fixed. You know at least his direction from you. You take a deep breath, and for the first time you feel a tiny flicker of hope that you're going to find your stranger and get him in all right. But you're a long way from home, and you light another cigarette and push the black microphone button hard. Now listen carefully, 457. I'm going to run a check procedure on you. I want you to take up a northeast heading, turn your volume down as low as you can, and still receive my range signal. At the very moment you detect a change in signal strength, either higher or lower, advise me.
All right, Rockford. I'll do my best. I'm not sure that I'm not at all sure.
Hello, 457. Can you hear me? Do you hear me, Beechcraft 457?
Rockford. Yes, I read you now. I lost you for a second, but I hear your range signal now.
Did you get all of my last transmission?
Yeah, I think so. I think I can do it. Hello, Rockford. My gauges indicate empty tanks. There's some gas left, I know, but I have no idea how much. Do you know where I am?
I'm quite sure of your direction from me, and I believe I know how far out you are within, say, 20 miles. If what you've told me is correct, I estimate you have 30 minutes fuel remaining. I believe your gauges are indicating normally. Now, try to concentrate on doing just what I've told you to do.
Yeah, okay, Rockford. I don't want you to think I'm ungrateful. I realize you can't afford mistakes. But I can't last much longer. I'm not trying to hurry you, but the gauges say empty, and my son is getting sick.
You didn't say anything about having any passengers aboard. How many are there of you?
Just my son and me.
Is the air off? Is there turbulence?
No the air is smooth.
But you said your son is getting sick.
Yes. You see, he's only 9, and he's getting scared. That's what's making him sick.
You don't say anything for a long minute. You just stare out into the miserable night, and your thoughts are not nice. You think of your own kid, and you thank God he's home safely in bed. And you know now, if you didn't know it before, that you've got to bring these strangers home. You reach for the microphone button, but before you push it, the voice is back.
What's happened, Rockford? I can't hear you anymore. Did you hear me? I was talking to you, and you didn't answer. Hello, Rockford. Come in, please.
I'm reading you, 457. I heard everything you said. Now listen to me carefully. You should be approaching my west course close into the station. I want you to listen closely and describe any change in your signal. I won't call you. You call me when you hear anything change.
Okay, Rockford. Hello, Rockford. The signal is much louder now. and I'm getting more of a continuous tone in my earphones, although I can still hear that other signal.
All right, 457. That's fine. That's good. Now, listen carefully. Turn your volume down a little more, and when you no longer hear that other signal, and when the continuous tone is loud and clear, and when you hear nothing but the continuous tone, at that time I want you to turn right to a heading of 93 degrees magnetic. Is that clear?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? You've got to know so. When you hear nothing but a tone, when there's nothing but a loud buzz in your ears, I want you to turn right to 93 degrees on your compass. Do you understand me?
Yes, I understand. Turn right to 93 degrees on the compass when I hear a loud tone.
That's correct.
The tone is strong now. I don't hear the other signal. Nothing but the tone. Shall I...
Yes, turn right, turn to 93 degrees and advise.
Advise?
Advise when on course, when on 93 degrees, advise.
Roger. Advise when I'm on course now, on 93.
All right, good.
Chicago Control Center has everything cleared on the 6000. They're monitoring the calls, too.
Okay, Mike, thanks a lot. What's the time?
9:40, straight up.
9:40? That's 12 minutes to make it in. Hello, 457. You're approaching the range now. You're almost over the station. The range is about 2 miles from where I'm sitting. The signal you hear will continue to increase in volume until you cross the range. At that time, it will fade out quickly. For a moment, you may hear nothing. Then it will increase again rapidly. Now, at the very instant your signal fades, I want you to make an immediate left turn to a heading of 45 degrees magnetic. Take that heading and advise. Understand?
I understand.
Mike, get on the phone and alert the local police and fire departments. Tell them what we've got and to be on the lookout for a fast move.
Roger.
Get all the lights on in the field, the runway markers. When we get him down through this, he won't have any time to spend looking for the field.
Okay, we'll do.
That is, if we get him down through it. You light another cigarette. You watch the clock on the desk. You try to keep your mind clear, to think ahead, to think of everything that can possibly happen, and the waiting is worse than anything yet. You keep reaching for that microphone, wanting to call him to ask him why he doesn't tell you he's over the range. And you know he hasn't called you because he isn't over the range yet. And you wait, and you wait. And then it comes loud and clear.
Rockford, I'm over the range and starting a turn. It's just like you said. It's exactly the way you said it would be.
Roger, 457. You're doing fine. Now come left to 45, straight and level. Hold it until I tell you different. I'll call you back.
I think you got him, Ken.
Well, if he's where he ought to be, we should hear him in about 20 seconds. I'm going out the platform and listen. Call me if he calls in.
Okay.
You stand on the steel grating of that tower platform and you try to hear over the sounds from the field below. You strain your ears for a sound that should come to you out of the southwest. And you've never wanted to hear anything so much in your life. And then you hold your breath. You stop breathing to hear there. And it's there. A single engine singing a quiet, sweet sound and approaching directly on course. You flick your burning cigarette out into the black space and stumble back into the tower room. You grab the mic and you almost shout into it. 457, this is Rockford. You're over the field. I hear you clearly. Start a 360 turn immediately and orbit in your present area.
Beginning of 360. For God's sake, tell me what to do. This engine is ready to quit.
You snap a look at the clock. 9:46. 5, maybe 6 minutes more if you're lucky. 6 minutes. At the outside to get him lined up properly for a straight-in approach, to talk him down through 4,000 feet of solid clouds. 6 minutes to bring off a miracle. You waste 15 precious seconds debating the best way to do it. All along up to now, you've planned it this way. A good, steady, full-scale power approach, nose up a little, flaps down just enough, power on exactly right. Your mind has told you that this was the ticket, the only answer. With a good steady airplane, no turbulence to speak of, well-trimmed and hands off, he might just make it. He might. But suddenly you're not sure. Maybe if he could pull his power, slow her down, trim her slow and steady, a touch of flaps, that might be the answer. That might do it. It would save precious gas. If he missed his approach or he goofed up in the clouds, he could get back on top for another try. Maybe. You push the microphone button hard and try to sound calm. 457, I hear you plainly. You're circling the airport. There isn't time to talk this out. You'll have to do exactly what I tell you the first time and do it right. There simply isn't time enough. Oh, wait a minute. Do you have chutes? Do you have parachutes aboard?
No parachutes.
All right, 457, we'll have to do it this way. Now listen to what I have to say. You don't have to talk, just listen. Come around to a due west heading, due west. As you do, start slowing her down. Slow her down and trim her up for a power approach. A normal power approach, do you understand?
I understand, Rob.
Don't talk to me. Bring her around, head west with the power on. Slow her down, flaps down to approach position. Trim her up, make her steady. Advise when you're headed west and slow down. 10, 15, 20. Where is he? Where is empty? 5. 457, are you there? 457?
I'm trying to get her steady. I'm trying to do what you told me.
All right, 457, don't talk. Advise when on course.
Rockford, I'm on 270 now. Slowing down. I don't know. I just don't know.
I know you don't know. All we can do is try.
I understand. I'm down to 80 now. Flaps down and power on.
Roger. Continue trimming her. Trim her down good. Adjust your power and trim her until she's descending at a steady 500 feet per minute. That's 500 per minute. Trim her good, do you understand? Trim her so good that she will let down at 500 feet per minute with your hands off. You get that? With your hands off.
I understand.
Now, 457, you're going to bring her around very slowly and precisely to an east heading. You're going to handle her very gently so she won't fall off on you flying so slow. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Let her continue to settle at 500 feet a minute. Just bring her around slowly to the east, recover, and then take your hands off the controls.
She won't fly with my hands off.
She will fly. She'll fly better than you can. Now listen to me. When you are eastbound, hands off. She will descend slowly into the clouds. After you're in the clouds, do not touch the controls.
I don't think I...
Then don't think, do as I tell you. Now, when you get in the clouds, everything will change for you. You will think the airplane is all wrong, that it's doing everything that it shouldn't do. If you leave it alone, it will start a slow spiral to the left, but I don't think it'll be enough to do any harm until you've broken out under the ceiling. Now, whatever it does, you will think it's going to the right or up or down or even spinning. But it won't be doing any of those things unless you make it do them. Now, don't touch it. Now, are you eastbound?
I'm eastbound, yes.
Take your hands off the controls.
But
Take your hands off now.
Okay. Hands are off.
Now, let her have it. Let her fly herself.
Again, the ceiling's under 600 feet. That doesn't give him much time to recover and get his bearings when he breaks out.
Oh, but it's all we can do. It's all anybody can do. You sit there waiting, only too aware of what can be happening in the cabin of Beechcraft 457, sweating out each second of time with a terrified pilot and his deathly scared kid. You wonder if this man, this stranger, and yet no longer a stranger, can keep his fantasies under control for that long letdown. The lonely, long letdown through total darkness with nothing but a great fear for a companion. A minute goes by, and another, and then...
Rockford! Rockford! It's turning, Rockford! Turning! Airspeed's high! It's going higher!
Get off those controls. Cut the throttle.
I've got the throttle closed. She's slowing down fast. I can't see. I can't...
Well, she's going to stall. Give her the throttle. Slowly. Keep your hands off except the throttle. She'll climb back out on top if you keep your hands off her. 2 minutes wasted, more than 2 minutes because he couldn't believe what you told him. You had him and then you lost him. And now, if the teacup of gas still in his tanks holds out, if he gets back on top, you still have it to do all over again. You begin to feel the long night closing in on you. He's almost calm when he calls you back this time. You can almost hear his sigh of relief.
Hello, Rockford. I'm back on top now.
Good. Maybe we have time for one more try. Now, let's try it with the power off this time. You may lose your engine before you can
It's no use, Rockford. It's just no use. I can't do it. I was fine until I got into those clouds. I just couldn't sit there and do nothing. I just couldn't. I know I can't do it again.
Listen, there's time. There's time for another try.
Forget it. The engine just quit. That's it, Rockford.
Well, you can still do it.
Forget it. You're wasting your time. I just want to say thanks for trying.
Hello, 457. Hello. Hello, Beach. Hello, 457.
He can't hear you. His hands froze to the mic.
Yeah. You better hit the crash button.
Roger.
The Rockford Tower to all planes awaiting landing instructions. The emergency is over. Normal radio procedure is now in effect. Rockford, over and out.
Rockford Radio, Delta 216, rest.
WA70, request permission.
Suspense, in which Frank Lovejoy starred in The Long Night, adapted by Sam Pierce from the Atlantic Monthly story by Lowell D. Blanton. Listen. Listen again next week, when radio's outstanding theater of thrills brings you another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. Suspense is produced and directed in Hollywood by William N. Robeson. Included in tonight's cast were Stacey Harris, Byron Kane, Court Falkenberg, Sam Pierce, and Jack Crucian. The original musical score was composed and conducted by Paul Barron. Sound patterns by Ray Kemper and Phil